Cut it off. It's episode 66 of a podcast directly to you. Episode 66? Yes, episode 66. I double checked it before and I double checked it again because that's what I do sometimes. It's E3 week. I did 2 videos this week and it was a great time. Not really. How you doing, Parker?
I'm doing good. It was a week. It was good. I enjoyed E3 a lot.
We did 1 video. Your week
was
normal.
I sure did. My week was normal. As far as this was concerned,
almost did one today too, but I did a podcast with OK Beast, which you guys should check out. I linked it on Twitter. And like when I did, it was like that whole day was crazy because like E3, and then that was like I had to wait until the conference happened to figure out what the video was even going to be. So then I spent all day like scripting it and doing all that stuff. And then immediately after I got done editing the video was the time that I was supposed to record the podcast with OK Beast. And like I was exporting, and then I exported it, and then something happened to mess up. So I had to go back and re-export it and then upload. It was a mess. Anyway, housekeeping. If you want to support this channel and what we do here, you can become a member at youtube.com/fanatics4. For $4.99, you get exclusive emotes, game time with us, loyalty badges, Switch keys from time to time. And, you know, it's just a great time. It's just a good old time. You know what I mean?
It's a good old time.
Also, you get you get access to our supporters only Discord, which is also a good time. You can join our Discord either way. If you're not a member, you can still join our Discord. It's great. Talk Grimhane. You can talk to 2DS. Is his name in the Discord, which is interesting. You can talk to all the people that hang out in the Discord. Anyway, that's all the stuff for now. So we can talk about E3. Well, first we can talk about the games that we're playing. We can talk about the games we're playing first, because that's how
specifically. Have you been playing Cadence of Hyrule?
No, I got to email Nintendo because it's always weird during like
E3
and stuff like that. Because they're like traveling back and forth from E3 and all this. So I gotta like hit them up and say, "Yo, are you sending this to me or not?"
Well, I can say products that will have been provided by Nintendo for you, but for me wasn't provided. But I've been playing it, so that's real fun.
Yeah. So how far are you in it?
You know, so because the overworld is randomly generated at the beginning of the game when you start it, and then the dungeons are randomly generated every time you go into the dungeons. The way my overworld laid out, it started me at Death Mountain. Like that was the first most accessible area. And I'm pretty sure it definitely seems like that it's supposed to scale up where that is the hardest area and has the hardest enemies and stuff. So I died a lot at the beginning. I was like, this is steep. Like that's a steep curve. And like even to get to where I realized I could have gone to go to easier spots, I would have had to go like north 1 or 2 panels and then over and kind of under. Like it wasn't directly accessible to go to others. But in any case, so I actually I haven't played it a whole lot, but I haven't even found my first like actual dungeon yet, but I've still cleared a decent amount of the map, but just haven't run into the actual dungeon. So I don't know what's going on with my map, but it's a whole lot of fun. If you like roguelikes at all, because it's definitely like it's got that element of it where like you're gonna die a lot and come back, and then it's pretty challenging. But like you're gonna die a lot and have to come back and play different spots over again and get new weapons again and all that kind of stuff. But the gameplay itself is really enjoyable. So that's what I have to say about it. I like it a lot. It's Zelda. It's good music. You know, good old times.
I'm trying to double check and see if I can talk about one of the games I've been playing. Wait, where's it at? Put it at the top of the document, please. Please and thank you. No, I cannot talk about the game.
I'm going to find out later what AJ has been playing when I'm done talking to you guys.
Did I not tell you?
I don't know. You. Maybe. If so, I forgot.
That's always a possibility. But other than that, you know, the normal Smash Brothers still chipping away at Sun and Moon, despite everyone's worst nightmare ever. The potential that maybe, just maybe, Pokemon Home won't be as cool as we thought for Pokemon Sword and Shield.
We'll talk about that later because I have some thoughts on that stuff. But I'm curious to get into that, especially since you've been playing through Pokemon Sun and Moon for exactly that reason.
Yeah. But I'm not. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really care. in that regard, because I know eventually it's going to happen. Like if they said that Pokemon Home wouldn't support Pokemon not in the Galar decks, then I'd be mad.
Yeah.
But the fact that I could still store them and they're all in one place, cool.
Yep.
You know, like,
Yep.
at one point or another, I'll be able to use them. So
Yep.
it's like it's
Even
fine.
if for some reason they'd never put them all in Sword and Shield, there'll be some other game later down the road that they'll all be in again. You
Yeah.
would imagine at least.
Otherwise, they're like Pokemon Home is pointless. Like, why have
Yeah.
it? You know?
Hmm.
And
I mean,
I'm
regardless,
sure
it's a
that they
good
didn't
way
do
to
it for a
save.
reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Okay, it's so weird. Side note, like I've been playing. I was just playing, like right before we started recording, I was just playing Cadence of Hyrule, and everything you do is like on a beat. And for some reason, my brain is still thinking that way, where like everything I'm saying, like
Has to be on
I'm
the
kind
beat.
of, yeah, which it's not. Like I'm not saying anything on a beat, but my brain's just still sitting there. It's weird. But I feel like regardless, yeah, in any case, it's still a good place to be like, I'll keep all my shinies there so that they're all in one place. Like that's just convenient, if nothing else. But yeah, we'll talk about it more when we get to it. But that's all I've been playing. Really, I played some Jackbox Party Pack with some friends yesterday. Uh, that was fun.
S tier
But
game, according to Dan Cyber and
yeah,
Grimhain. S tier game.
I mean, I get the logic, but I agree with what you were saying. I think more so as far as like it depends on who you're playing it with.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I mean, but that's the case with most multiplayer games. It's
Yeah.
hard to like really, but especially if they're like fun and gimmicky or whatever. Like,
Right.
you could, I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot harder to decipher. I think with it gives you a lot of good tools to
Mhm.
have fun. But there's some just board games that I've played with people that I'm like, man, this board game's so much fun, and I enjoy playing it with lots of people. And then I'll get with a certain group and be like, man, that
Yeah.
was just
This is
bad.
bad.
Like,
You know,
not
people
on
that take Monopoly too seriously, not a
Yo,
good time.
yes. Even like Cards Against Humanity, like it's fun with some people, but then with other people, I just get bored and sad by the end of it because it's
Yeah.
like they're not picking fun cards, they're just picking the most sexual cards and that's it. And I'm like, it's just not fun to like
Yeah. Because like they're the type of games that you have to play to people's sensibilities, and if you
right.
don't like jive with them in that way, it doesn't work. You know, like
Yeah.
it just falls flat.
Yeah. So yeah, it's but in any case, we had a good time playing Jackbox. It was fun. We played it just for a little bit, but
It was an S
that's all
tier
I
time.
S tier time, man alive. What a good world we live in. But yeah, moving on to I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So,
Oh,
before we get into all of Nintendo's stuff, we're not going to spend super long talking about the non-Nintendo E3 world, but we'll go over it just a little bit here. Just curious on, I don't know, our overall thoughts on what happened prior to that. Did it feel like just generally a fairly bad E3 before Nintendo to you?
I don't know. I don't know because I usually like it. Usually feels like okay. I don't really care about most of this stuff.
Mm,
There's like a few things that I'll see. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'll play that. And that happened this year. You know, where it's like I'm playing. You know, what is that game called? Oh something. What is it? The one with the girl that everybody fell in love with.
You said Ghost something? Deathloop? No, that
No,
wasn't
that's the
Deathloop.
other one. I'm also interested in that one though.
Oh man. Yeah, I know which one you're talking
Ghostwire,
about. It's
that's
the
what it
action
is. I'm
Ghost Rider.
literally
Okay,
on
yeah.
her Twitter to figure it out, which is wild. Like she
Yeah.
freaking blew up, dude. She made her Twitter the day of that presentation. Almost called it a
Are you
disaster.
serious?
Yeah, she made her
Man.
Twitter that day. She has 132,000 followers.
Yeah.
I was like,
Man,
Jesus.
she did a great job. That was yeah. Like any of the tweets that were that she and Keanu just stole E3, especially before Nintendo came on. I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
This
this
is
E3, like if it didn't deliver for people in regards to games that came out, it delivered in memes for sure.
fun.
Because it like leapfrogged in memes. Like first it was
Hmm.
Keanu Reeves, and then it
Yep.
was her, or was it the dog first? I feel like she was
Uh,
first, and then the dog was
wait,
at like
which dog?
there was like a dog at one of the I don't remember which press conference it
Oh,
was.
I missed that. Whatever that
There was a
is.
dog, and everybody was like, "Oh no, they won E3," like that dog. But yeah, it was like so many memes, so many
Yeah,
memes.
it was
But
great.
yeah, like Bethesda had two games that I was interested in that I didn't previously know about. Like I want to play
Yep.
Doom or whatever, but like Guardian
Yeah.
existed.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. It was cool to see the gameplay of it. Like it was just fun watching the gameplay and them having fun. It looks good.
Cyberpunk
Whatever that's worth.
2077. I was going to play it anyway. Going to
Yep.
play it even more now. doesn't really have anything to do with Keanu Reeves. I was like, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like hype like everybody. I was like, oh my god, he's it. I was like, okay, that's the thing.
I mean, like honestly, and Keanu Reeves is a smaller character in that game than like Terry Crews in Crackdown 3.
I don't know
and
if
like
he is. It sounds like he's a pretty
really
big.
okay.
Yeah, sounds like he has a pretty
Well, I
big
just
role.
Terry Crews was like the main character. Well, I guess maybe you could play as multiple different. I never played Crackdown. I don't know much about it.
That's what they said in this, like for this game. They're like the amount of lines he has rivals the protagonist, which is wild.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Like,
there you go.
He's supposed
I guess that's similar to like a Death Stranding situation too, with Norman Reedus and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be like your Jiminy Cricket. That's what it is. Like he's supposed to be
your Navi.
Yeah. So
hey, listen.
Yeah. Except he's going to be like, hey, listen.
Sweet and salty.
Hero-esque,
Uh-huh.
So that happened. I'm gonna play that game. Watch Dogs Legion looks cool. I don't know why
it does look cool.
It's weird that everybody keeps it, and maybe it's because like that's a lot of the marketing. But they're like, you can play as any NPC, and I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Like you can play as any character that is a non-playable character. That's not true. Like
maybe what you mean is right, but what words you're saying don't really add up.
It's just like I don't know why people keep saying. I mean, you can take control of multiple characters. It's that simple.
It does look really cool. I mean, just the fact of having a world that it feels fairly fleshed out for that reason, which is good.
And I think it's cool. I'm just mean like how people are describing it.
Yes. Totally.
Actively doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Agreed.
Which
I thought. What did you think of the Project Scarlet announcement?
I feel like it was like Sony. I mean, not to say that Sony like it was hype in any way, like more hype than their announcement, but they pretty much announced the same thing that Sony did, except for they one-up them, and that they're like, our console does all the stuff that you said that you're going to do, and also we're detailing that how a RAM works, and you can use RAM as an SSD or the SSD as additional RAM or whatever. Like, okay, like it's just a bunch of stuff that I tweeted about this, where it's like you're just arming fanboys to talk about stuff in a way that like makes them sound smarter than they are. Like my console has 12 teraflops. It's like you don't actually know what that means. You just heard it. You just heard Phil Spencer say it one time, and you think that you're smart because of it. So it's like ray tracing. Like you don't actually know how that works. There's probably 20%, if that 10% of the fan base that actually knew what that was beforehand and was like, I hope that they put ray tracing in the next console. Like But for the most part, people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's cool.
I feel like, because they said that they'd be bringing the next Xbox or Project Scarlet or whatever to their presentation. Honestly, I thought their presentation overall was really good. Like I just flow-wise, everything. Like I enjoyed watching it the whole time. It was just under 2 hours or whatever, and my wife was watching it with me a decent amount of the time too, and she was interested, which is like. That's saying something because she's not a gamer predominantly.
She's slowly getting there.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about that today because, like, we'll talk about it when we get to the Nintendo stuff. But I was like, there's a couple of these games. She's like, ooh, I played that. So, anyways, but when they said they were bringing Project Scarlet to E3, like, I feel like if you don't have a box there, it's not like you're not really. I mean, granted, it's far enough away that if they did, that would be a mistake. Like, they shouldn't announce too much about it. Otherwise, people will just, already people are probably holding off on getting an Xbox so that they can do that. But they also did announce that you can use your current Xbox as an xCloud machine to play games for it in the future, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, that's
I guess
like,
people.
I don't understand like what they're trying to say with that
model. Yeah, I don't know.
Like no, not necessarily a business model, but like what they're trying to say in that, because they basically are like, you can use xCloud for free through this thing, and it's like, how, like, and how, if you can do that, how is that any different from what you can already do with like Windows and Xbox One? Because you can stream your Xbox games to your PC.
Right.
So like, how is that any different from that? I guess you can use your phone now, which if you want to, if that's your thing, you can do it. But what is the use case for it other than like, look, I can play my Xbox Scarlet from my home.
Yep. I was a little surprised. I mean, so we didn't see any overt Nintendo and Microsoft stuff. Obviously, Banjo, and like there were a couple of things where it's like, well, yeah, that's a Microsoft thing and Nintendo, whatever. But we didn't see like someone from Nintendo show up in Microsoft's or someone from Microsoft show up in Nintendo's in like that kind of in your face way. And I was a little surprised by that, not just because of rumors and stuff. Like it just seemed like everybody was saying it was going to happen. So I was like, I guess it's going to happen, but then it didn't happen. So
that was another meme where people were like photoshopping Miyamoto's face on Keanu Reeves. Yeah,
that was so good. I love that a lot. And like whoever did it did like an okay job. It wasn't particularly good, but it was good enough to be funny. To where I was like, "What's that?" Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Bethesda, real quick. I just noted clapping. Yeah. I mean, everybody's talked about it, but that was the most. I think what's frustrating, and I noticed this last year in their press conference too, where like they stop every 3 minutes or every 3 sentences for it to be some big clapping moment, like, and we are gonna eat some pizza.
Whoa!
Right? Yeah, right.
Pizza!
And it's like, oh my goodness, it's just really awkward. And especially there was one guy last year that was worse than any of the people this year, where he just kept saying stuff and he'd be like, right,
It's like an abuse of power. It's like it's funny because during Wolf Den's panel at PAX East, Will was kind of doing that because he was like, at PAX East in Boston, Massachusetts, everybody's like, and so he like said that like on every episode of the backlog like 4 times.
That's hilarious.
So it's like, I mean, you gotta use it. Not every day. So. That your audience is sitting right there.
It was especially awkward though because then in the Ubisoft one, I felt like they were doing the same thing, but they didn't have plants in their audience or whatever. To where it was like
the thing about Ubisoft, the thing about Bethesda is I really get that vibe from them just generally. Like on the influencer side of things, like they will go out of their way to prioritize influencers that they know like their game over like press and like all that stuff. They're like, nah, we're going to give this to Shoddycast because we know that they like Bethesda games. IGN, you could wait until launch, like. So that doesn't surprise me that they're just like they know what they're doing in that regard, and I don't know how they don't get more backlash for that. Where it's like they're kind of like stacking their deck in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's
I mean, but at the same time, it's kind of like I guess in the sense that unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, where like we prioritize, I don't know, like Grimhain or anybody that's like here all the time, and also a member, like we'll bring up their comments more often because it's like you're part of.
I don't know if it's the same thing because it's like
I might be misunderstanding what you're saying.
Yeah, it would be like us doing that would be like picking Grimhain specifically because we like that he's positive towards us. But we'll grab a Grimhain comment that's like, this video was dumb and I disagree with everything. Bethesda specifically will pick people that they know like their game so that they can like promote it to the people that they want to buy it and be like, hey, look, these people are fans of it. You can be too. And I don't know how that's not a FTC issue, but somehow it's not.
So it's more pandering, I guess, than like just knowing who your community is.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
So
I don't know.
That's the thing for Bethesda.
I was really curious when they were doing all the Fallout 76 stuff too. I was like, you were saying like we've got the best community. So many people are still playing, and I was like, maybe there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
They basically said, we know our game sucks, but people still like it though. So F you, It's like,
but we're bringing in NPCs, so now if you're a Ubisoft game, you can play as them. Woohoo!
So an issue that a lot of people seem to have with this year's E3 is the lack of gameplay.
Yeah.
And to me, like, I feel like it's an improvement, at least during the presentation, because it really just feels like it slows the pace down to me, where it's like, all right, here's this game, and we showed a trailer, and this is what it looks like. Now some dude's going to play through it, and it's going to crash, and then everybody's going to make fun of it for that, or it's going to look really, really good, and then when the game comes out, it's not going to look as good because game development,
Yeah, right.
There's just no real positive outcome for that. There's no scenario where you're better off for showing a 6-minute vertical slice on the E3 stage for a game like that,
Yeah.
especially in comparison to like I feel like Treehouse Live really nailed, or Nintendo just
Honestly,
generally how they cover
that's what I was
E3.
gonna say is Nintendo having the direct to just do trailers, and then like, oh, but we're gonna see this in the treehouse. So like, I'm not worried about seeing gameplay. I'm just excited about being excited about the game because like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just see the gameplay later. I
And
think
they can
that's like the
control their messaging a lot easier. Where it's like if
yeah,
the game crashed, like they're sitting on the couch chilling out, it's like, oh no, this messed up. Oh, okay, or bad. But if something messes up during the conference, you're slowing up future announcements. Like there's a limited amount of time to talk about
point.
everything rather than this one 30-minute time slot for this whole entire game to be showing off.
Yeah,
So it's like, I don't know.
yeah.
I feel like it's better for that. If they have gameplay at least, which I feel like a lot of conferences did that, where it's like either they just brought their gameplay demo to IGN or they had their own Treehouse Live
Mhm.
sort of situation. But for the most part, like people were just mad that they did what Sony does and everybody loves them for, which is like weird to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that was
is
another
interesting.
thing. Who was it? It was like Benji Sales. He's like
Uh-huh.
a
I've heard the name. I don't know who he
analyst
is.
dude. Well, I don't know if he's like a professional. He just likes game sales and stuff like that, and he talks about them.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh yeah, the gameplay, like the lack of gameplay is really strange, blah blah. And I was like, I don't know if it's that weird. Like that's Sony's playbook, and people love them for that. And
Mhm.
then somebody got mad at me. It was like, oh, the fanboy showing. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm just saying that's what Sony does, and it works. So
Uh-huh.
everybody's like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yep.
very weird.
I I feel like a good middle ground would be just just have gameplay as part of your like do a cinematic. Honestly, kind of like Fire Emblem, the first trailer that we got for Fire Emblem that was an actual trailer. Three Houses had like cinematics and stuff, and then it had like a little bit of gameplay and then cinematics and stuff. And like that was great. I think that's a really good way of doing that, where it's like showing a bit of the concept of like this is what the game's going to look like. Because then you do get some situations like Avengers type thing, which I guess we can talk about that for a second too,
Yeah.
where I don't really know what of that is gameplay and what's not. And like a lot of it seems like I heard some people saying too that it was like possibly more QTE type stuff. At least I don't. It seems like to me. Okay, just kind of spitballing. What we saw was the gameplay that's at the way beginning of the game because it's before that like 5 year gap or whatever, and then we're actually going to be playing the game way after that. So this is like, you know, a short what a prelogue? Yeah, no. What's the opposite of an epilogue? Whatever. A beginning
Prologue.
part.
Prologue.
Prologue. I was like
Yeah.
prelogue. What's prologue? Thank you. So we'll play as the prologue thing, but maybe in that I don't know. It really did look like just a bunch of QTE type stuff, and that you're not
See,
really
but that's the thing.
controlling all
Like
that much.
Spider-Man looked like that, and it just looks like that.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
true.
there's no real way to know if it's like, is that
Yeah.
gameplay?
Yeah.
We're
So
in
that's why like having a
2019.
HUD a little bit would be nice to be able to have good expectations for that. But at the same time, you know what, like drumming up false disappointment at the beginning doesn't always hurt because sometimes it comes back around where it's like, we were afraid it was this, but it turns out it's actually like that or whatever. Like
Also,
I was
like
watching
having a HUD doesn't guarantee that it's gameplay.
yeah,
Like
that's
there
true.
was they changed the HUD. Like Square Enix and Sony have done this several times with like Final Fantasy VII remake. Like the first
Yeah,
time they showed that off, that had a HUD, but it was not gameplay. So it's like it's not hard to spoof that, but like people
right.
seem like, oh, it has a HUD. So that
Yeah,
means it's game. Like, no, it doesn't. It could still be
yeah,
pre-rendered. It just is poorly rendered enough that it looks like gameplay.
yeah. So I'm just curious because I was watching Arlo's video on Luigi's Mansion, I think was the one that I'm thinking of. And at some point he was talking about how like, okay, it was because he was talking about like there are portrait ghosts, or like he wanted the portrait ghosts to come back from the first one, and then they didn't see any of them, and or we didn't see any of them in the trailer in September. But then now we're seeing that it's character ghosts, like similar kind of idea or whatever. And he's like, why didn't they just show any of them back then? And I kind of feel like, well, to drum up hype, like
Yeah.
so that we can be like concerned about something for a little while, be talking about that, and then later be like, and there it is. So sometimes it goes the other way around.
And
So,
that's the thing with like the Pokemon situation.
yeah,
Like
right, totally.
I don't know if I pulled that comment. But somebody was basically like, why would you do this? If this is something that they're going to reverse in the future, why not tell us now? And I'm like, because that's marketing. Like, it
Yeah,
makes you look way better if you're like, hey, we're taking this away. And then you come back and you're like, hey, we're giving it back to you, you know?
yeah.
Like,
Like Nintendo with Mario Maker 2 and being able to play with your friends. Like,
yeah.
honestly, I mean, same thing.
And I
Now
mean,
people are
like
happy about it.
it even goes beyond that, where it's like Microsoft is like, yes, you'll be able to play, like, I mean, you'll be able to like trade your games in or whatever. And people are like, yeah, we've been able to do that for decades, but now you're telling us we can do it
Now we're
again.
happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Mm,
Or Sony being like, yes, the focus for our next thing is games. You know, it's like,
mhm,
okay, yeah, sure. Uh, so
mhm.
sometimes the most powerful marketing that you can have is messing up and then fixing what you messed up because it makes you look like the
Honestly,
good guy.
I worked as a server for a couple different summers, like in college or whatever, and I would get the best tips on tables where something got messed up, and then I came and like really apologized and was like, I am so sorry that happened. Like, let me know what we can do to fix it. Like, I'm just so sorry. And then they'd give a really good tip because they were like, hey, thanks for owning up to it or whatever. I don't know. Like, I mean, and I was genuinely sorry. I didn't want crappy things to happen to them, but at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. I get better tips. Maybe I should mess stuff up more. I did, because that I feel like that would be hard to to rig anyway, and
Yeah,
it's just not honest. But it was one of those things where it's. I think you're right. Like, there's showing goodwill in that sense, where it's like, well, I had an idea that was going to go different than what you guys are thinking, but what you guys are thinking matters. So then, there you go,
right.
bonus points.
Even
But yeah,
if it's a thing that like wasn't the case, you know, like
yeah,
Sony being able to say like, oh man, like they're doing all the same stuff that we were planning to do, but we're going to reverse it and act like we never planned to do it. You know, like
yeah,
they were going to do the same stuff, the always
hmm
online and like the not trading in
yeah,
games and stuff like that. But they did a day one patch and they just did not like acknowledge that. They were just like, we're going to let you do all the stuff, but the other guy said you can't. And then
yeah. Just
like
skirt by it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
man,
that's what you gotta do, man.
that's what you got to do. Last thoughts on all the other non-Nintendo stuff. Well, I mean, it's kind of Nintendo. Gods and Monsters from
Yes,
Ubisoft. I
yes.
thought that game looked like, if it's going to be anything like the trailer looked like, I'm excited about it.
It just looks like Breath of the Wild, and
I'm
sure,
down.
why
Even if
not?
it's, I'm guessing it's probably not like open worldy and stuff. I don't know. It could be,
It
but
definitely looks like it. Like
yeah,
it's just it looks like Breath of the Wild, which I'm down for. I'm
I'm
okay
down
with
for it.
this.
Yep,
Like, yeah, that's a Breath of the Wild clone, and I'll
yep.
play it. Sure.
So I'm excited about that one. That one looks neat. And then Final Fantasy VII remake. That's cool. It looked pretty good. I don't have anything to play it on right now, so it's just gonna be
How
there.
dare
But
you? How dare you? I'm
pretty easily,
I'm
apparently.
probably gonna buy it because that's the thing that everybody's talking about. I gotta play it so I can form an opinion.
There
Just
you
quick tweet, you know, not even for content, which I guess tweets are content technically. But
go.
I just want to be like, yeah, this game's good or this game sucks. So we'll find out.
We will. So
uh,
moving into any last thoughts from you on non-Nintendo presentations?
um, hmm. I was extremely bored by Square Enix. Nothing that they showed I cared about. And the one thing that I was like,
That's
I'm
funny.
watching this for this, the Avengers. Didn't look as good
Yeah.
as it should have, you know. So I was like, man,
No.
I wasted what an hour and a half of my life or whatever. But everybody
That's
else
funny.
seemed to like it.
Yeah, I like Square Enix's conference pretty well. I like JRPGs and RPGs and stuff. So it was just, even if it was like, I'm not going to be able to play half of these, it still looked cool, and I was like, oh,
I
that's
was
fun.
just like,
So
I feel like even if I like that stuff, it would be like if Nintendo's entire conference was like, and we're coming out with Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, but on Switch this time. Like they're just bringing back a whole bunch of stuff. It was like
yeah,
at least
that makes sense.
75% remakes and remasters. And like
Yep.
added to the fact that I don't care about any of this stuff, it just made it even more boring. Where it's like, okay, it's a bunch of JRPGs that people played before, but they're slightly prettier, or in the case of or
Mm-hmm.
FF7 remake, significantly prettier.
Yep.
But for the most part, it was just like a bunch of crap that everybody played before. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
I will say at least the presentation format flowed a lot better than most of than like Ubisoft was just the worst as
they
far
brought
as
another mobile game. They need to stop doing that.
yeah.
And Bethesda again also brought a
Yep.
mobile. And like, why is that? Why is that stuff that people are
It's
doing?
just it's not like E3 is not the place for that
It's
anyway.
not.
Like
And like less of a thing that was like a huge negative, but still was weird to me was
mhm.
Microsoft showing that controller. I was like, why?
Oh
Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
why
I was like,
here?
all right, cool. Especially when we're thinking maybe we were gonna see Xbox hardware,
Yeah.
like and we saw control like we're like, oh, bits, they're doing things like, oh, it's gonna be a console, and then nope, it sure isn't.
Yeah,
That was weird.
it was so weird. It was so weird.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the non-Nintendo stuff. Sure, why not?
that's the non-Nintendo stuff. But last but not least, everybody wanted Nintendo to save E3, and by all intents and purposes, they did.
Yeah,
It was
they killed it.
man, they did. It was a very good presentation. I'm curious, like, to hear because, like, as somebody who doesn't care really one way or another about Microsoft, I thought their presentation was pretty good. So I'm curious what somebody who doesn't care about Nintendo at all thought about this one. Um, Pretty sure they would like it, even so. But
Justin doesn't like it. He doesn't care
really,
about Nintendo.
oh, Justin. Hey, Justin, what's up? I've got a
Justin, you're
comment from him.
stupid. You're an idiot. Anyway,
What
continue.
didn't he like about it? I'm curious.
He just likes RPG. He literally only plays RPG, so it's like, yeah, not enough RPGs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I think with a lot of this stuff, you have to not just think of it for. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but
Yeah,
like
I mean,
for
like looking at it like on a personal side
yeah,
of things and being like, okay, for me, this wasn't
yeah,
huge.
there were
But
a
like
lot of games. Yeah,
just
go ahead.
looking at like variety and like the stuff that they announced, like there's direct, like the last direct that they had, the last like big direct with like
Hmm.
multiple
The one
games,
in
not
February. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I wasn't interested in most of that stuff, but they announced a lot of variety. So
yep,
I'm like, yeah, that's a good direct. And
yep.
that I think is like, especially for like a console manufacturer's conference, like less so for Bethesda, because Bethesda's like kind of a Blizzard sort of situation where it's
Yeah.
like you're not really a Skyrim fan, you're a fan of Bethesda. So like if you like
Hmm.
Skyrim, you probably like Fallout, like that
Hmm.
sort of thing.
Yep.
But in this regard, it's like for Nintendo and for Microsoft and Sony, I think that they have a responsibility to like kind of appeal to everybody that has the
Hmm.
platform and not just the people that's like since Nintendo mostly makes action games and JRPGs, that's all they should have. And it's like, no, they should probably have more than that.
Yeah, I mean that's like the September Direct last year. I played Luigi's Mansion for the first time probably like 3 years ago or so, something like that. So like it's pretty fresh in my mind, but it also means I'm not like itching for one like a lot of other people really are. So that wasn't like as mind blowing for me, but I was like, oh, neat. And Animal Crossing, I've never played an Animal Crossing, so I'm excited to play it. But both of those were like these are the heavy hitter announcements, and I was like, all right, cool. But I also knew these are a huge deal for other people. So in my mind, it was like, even though it's not my most hyped direct ever or whatever, I was like, that was a good direct, objectively speaking. And then, one of these days there will be games that are more pointed exactly at me. But also, these are games that are turning into
Yeah.
ones that I'm going to be more excited about for myself as we find out more about them. So, all that stuff. We're just gonna go by order because I'm just going off an article so we don't forget stuff. We're gonna go in order of the things that were announced, and there we go. The first thing is the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC,
How are
which
we
I'm
doing
pretty
this?
sure
Are we talking about both of the DLC or are we coming
I think it's
back?
just. I think it's just the first one.
They have both of them in the article right here.
Oh,
For
you're right.
Smash Brothers.
You
Yeah.
are very correct.
So I was like for the first DLC, like with the Dragon Quest people, I was like, I mean, I don't mind them being in the game, but like,
Yeah.
come on, dude. Like, we just got a JRPG character.
I
Let's
will
get
say though,
somebody else.
having the Echo Fighter thing for some reason I don't
I
even know
mean, that was
why.
dope. That was dope.
So,
Even
but
though they're
yeah,
not Echo
isn't that
Fighters,
odd?
but they're alts.
Okay,
Why?
they're all yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's so funny to me that because it seems like that was everybody's reaction watching, and it's like, except for obviously anybody that loves Dragon Quest was just excited about
Yeah,
it. Period.
Japan was
But
hype. They
oh yeah,
freaking
for
lost their
sure.
mind.
But for most people that were like, all right, there's plenty of sword fighters, it was like, cool, the hero from Dragon Quest XI's here. But then as soon as we found out, oh, but there's more versions of a hero, it's like more exciting. But it's still more fighters that don't do
Yeah.
anything. And so it's just funny, but
I mean, it's the same
it's just what
character,
it is.
so it's
It's
like
just exciting. Like,
that's the thing that um I think Echo Fighters like naming it that was big for the characters, like because
yeah.
everybody before or not everybody, a lot of people that were like in our camp of well, I don't know how you feel about it, but when they look like looking at the roster and be like 75% of these characters all play exactly the same.
Yeah.
Is like consolidate this, and Echo
Yes.
Fighters just like made it an easier way to consolidate some of them. They didn't make every
Uh-huh.
character that should probably be an Echo Fighter proper, but they, for the most part, they still said, okay, Peach, Daisy, if you want, you can take up one slot on the
Hmm.
character select screen, and that is cool.
I think a
um,
lot of people were wanting um, for Echo Fighters to mean that now we'd get more variety without having to do the extra, like Banjo Kazooie being Duck Hunt or whatever.
yeah,
And I think Nintendo, it's too, multifaceted, but their main goal, I think, was what you were saying, is the consolidation of like, all right, it is kind of out of control. Let's try to trim some of this down. But I mean, it does seem like there's some of that that's happening too, where like Dark Samus, obviously, I mean, we got new Echo Fighters, but for the most part, I feel like it was more the consolidation. Like, I thought maybe it would mean that we'd be getting a bunch of Echo Fighters now,
yeah.
just kind of free DLC or whatever.
I
It's
mean,
like, oh,
maybe
also
later.
here's
I could see them doing like another character pack and it's 10 characters and they're all Echo Fighters, you know?
yeah, right,
I could
exactly.
see that because
Yep.
like then there's not as much balancing that needs to be done if they're just going to straight up do the Peach Daisy thing where they're
Uh-huh.
literally the same character. The
One
one
of them says,
difference
"Hi,
that
I'm
they
Daisy."
had, the one difference that they had in gameplay, they patched out.
Oh,
So it's
really?
like, yeah, it's crazy.
Hilarious. What was it?
Turnips. Daisy's
Mm,
turnips had less knockback, so it was easier to combo off of.
interesting. So yeah, so Dragon Quest 11, the hero is here.
They
Um,
exist.
so that was fun. We'll come back to the other one, but
Oh
next
yeah.
up was Dragon Quest 11: Echoes of Evolution Age Definitive Edition S. That's in the wrong order. Whatever.
That exists. Are you hyped for that?
I am actually quite excited for this. I've never played a Dragon Quest game either, so the honestly, like, I'm really excited about the 2D stuff with it as
Mhm.
well. I don't know why. It just seems fun.
Yeah, it's like you
Like,
don't have nostalgia for that because you never played it, but like it's still cool.
yeah, I mean, I have nostalgia for just 2D JRPGs, and like
Yeah.
I really loved Octopath Traveler, so I'm excited for that regardless. But man, it's gonna take a I like just looking at the list of games that I have to play or that I want to play, and that a lot of them are RPGs. I'm like, this is gonna be insane. But I am excited for that game. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of games that are long. And assuming that Nintendo handles the press copies for that, you're gonna get that from them because I don't care about that game.
so I am
Hashtag
excited.
free product.
Yeah, in
Wait,
the
you have to
future.
tweet. Well, I'll probably have to tweet it too.
True.
Well, I'm not going to
I'll
talk
talk
about
about
it
it.
again. But when I tweet your video, I'm going to have to tweet it.
There you go. You can just retweet lots of things I say. It'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it about Dragon Quest 11. Not a whole lot of new stuff. We did get little tidbits of new things, like you can go back to some of the or all of the old worlds, like little bits of them or something like that, which like is cool. But I am not nostalgic for any of them. But I wish I was. I guess I don't know. But it's neat.
Hurry up and play through all, what,
10
10
of the others,
Dragon
yeah.
Quest games prior to this.
Probably not going to happen. But before the next one was the Doug Bowser and Bowser skit thing.
Yeah.
That was cute.
That was a good way to introduce him. It wasn't as like hardcore gamer as coming out and saying a swear. But he, still cool,
So cool indeed.
They're so lucky because I'm sure they don't pick people based off of like stuff like that. They're not like you're great on camera. Like they don't care about that.
Yeah,
But they're lucky that he is charismatic and also his last name is Bowser, so it gives them a bit.
absolutely.
So
And
it's so
it's yeah,
lucky.
he plays into it, and that's good. I mean, I'm sure that I mean, it seems like it's his personality too. He still seems a little bit kind of not stiff, but
How
like
dare you? How dare you?
I do dare. Did you watch the video where he and it was a couple people playing Mario Maker together?
Oh
It was
no,
like him and
it's
Bill
in my
Trinen
watch
and stuff.
later. I didn't see that
Uh,
yet.
it's fun, but it's like pretty awkward at the same time. We're just uh yeah, it's just kind of awkward, but whatever. We'll just skip right past that. But I really liked it. Was super cute, and I like Doug Bowser a lot, so I'm excited for the new reign of Doug
Yeah,
Bowser.
I think he'll like grow into it too, because it's like again,
Yeah,
like he's not an influencer. He's not
yeah,
like it's not his thing to be like I'm going to turn a camera on myself. But I think he'll get better and better at it as time goes on. Because like
yeah,
like Iwata, he was like stilted and stuff like that on camera, and then eventually it just got to the point where he steered into that skid and it became a normal thing, like him staring at
yep,
bananas, like that whole thing. And I'm like Reggie got better at the whole thing too. So
yep.
I think
Yeah,
Doug Bowser
eventually I
will
think you
grow
get
into
used
it.
to your audience too, and there's something just about that like it just is more comfortable as well. So, but he announced Luigi's Mansion 3,
Yeah.
which we already knew about, but now we know more about.
We
Uh,
still don't have a date, which is
we
weird.
don't. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Weird. I mean, again, like the thing, I mean, well, we'll talk about that later, so I won't mention that. But as far as like the whole date situation, I don't think it matters for Nintendo. If they say it's coming out in 2019, I pretty much believe them. Like it's not, they have no reason to like hide it that long.
Especially now, like, yeah, because if it's at this point in time, if it was going to get delayed, they would kind of have to tell us now.
Yeah.
I would think. I don't. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before that it's gotten delayed this last minute, but I kind of doubt it because at this point it would have to get then delayed within the next 2 or 3 months or so, and then that's pretty delayed. But whatever.
Yeah. Also, I
Come
don't
on.
think Luigi's Mansion is the type of game that they care to delay. Like I
Yeah,
don't think it's gonna have that big of an issue where they're like, oh man, we gotta really polish this game up or
yeah.
whatever, right?
Well, and
Um,
especially apparently they were saying in the treehouse that it was originally planned on being a Wii U game.
yeah.
So they've, I guess,
It's
been working on it
probably
for a
done,
while.
like
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
That said, though, polish wise, the trailer of this versus the original trailer we got, like, I wonder if they made the September trailer a while back or something because it looks substantially better
Yeah.
as far as just not looking kind of generic and sort of bland or whatever. Like, it's got a lot of personality, and I'm
Right.
very happy about it.
Yeah, I'm down to play it. I
Yeah.
want it. Give it to me now. I mean, it'd be funny because we talked about this before, but like, what if it really is down to them just being like, okay, which spooky month do we prioritize? Who matters more? Who's gonna buy this game because we're in the spooky month?
Yep. I was
Um,
thinking about that. I mean, like, especially with all the other stuff coming out September, I guess they were like, whatever, we'll do America's spooky month.
yeah,
Yes,
we
I'm down.
win.
So, I mean, at that point, if it came out October 31st, for example, I mean, it wouldn't be exactly, but around then,
I don't even know what
when
day
would
that
they
is.
have to when would they have to announce the date for it to not be too late? Because
Uh,
beginning of September even is like kind of
I don't
close,
know about that. I don't know. I think they could
but
announce the
that's
beginning of September. Honestly,
yeah, I mean that's about the Mario Maker 2 window, I'm pretty sure, because we got that beginning of May and it came out at it's coming out the end of June.
Mhm.
So 2 months or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
But
think they'll
yeah.
have to announce it too far out. I mean, I think in this day and age, you don't really gotta have these long line like the game's coming out in 2 years. Like it's the
Yeah.
internet. I feel like a lot of properties benefit more from the and it's available now sort of deal.
Mhm.
I don't know
Yep.
if Luigi's Mansion would be one of those,
Mhm.
but I think that it's a big enough property and it has its audience that like it doesn't need 5, 10, 20 months to
Oh
be like,
yeah.
hey, Luigi's Mansion's coming out. Here's the date.
Mhm.
Start saving your pennies, kids.
Honestly, and it would probably be easier to start marketing it just at all once it's already into those spooky months
Yeah,
anyway. Like I could see that going well for them. So the game overall, like, yeah, again, graphically it looks good, but like even just gameplay wise of the different areas and themes and stuff and the different ghosts and all the like being able to use the poltergust and the Gooigi stuff. Gooigi weird, but whatever. It was in in Dark Moon, I guess, as
No,
well.
it's in
But
the first game
it was the re-release for. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought they put it in Dark Moon as well.
Hashtag free product. No. But they did have multiplayer in Dark Moon.
Okay, gotcha. So they had multiplayer in that, but then the multiplayer in the original one was just the Guiji stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like the Guiji stuff is like the co-op situation. They like consolidated both of their things.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. And they have the scare scraper and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all in all, exciting stuff. Next up, the Dark Age, Age of Resistance Tactics. Don't care really at all, except for it's a Netflix game, and Netflix is still not on the Switch. It's just weird.
It was so weird that people reacted to that, where they're like, I don't care about this game. I wanted this announcement to be Netflix, which is weird. That's so weird that people actively want Nintendo to pull a Microsoft and talk about a service during their E3 conference.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. Man, it's just funny as all.
I'm
but,
just not
whatever.
gonna ever do that. Like, there's one time ever where I watched like YouTube on my Switch, and that was when I didn't have my laptop charger. The one day that I didn't have my laptop charger in my life since having the Switch, I was like, I guess I'll put YouTube on this. And even then, like if my Xbox and PlayStation were plugged up, I probably would have put it on them first.
The only way I could see myself doing it, I think, would be going on a trip, maybe. But even then, my phone's Wi-Fi is probably just going to be better than my Switch's anyway.
Yeah.
And I've got just unlimited data on my phone, so like I'll probably just use my phone, all things considered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even that I'd use it. It's just weird. That's literally all. Like, all right, like that's 2 Netflix games now that are here before whatever. All right, good stuff. But then after that, we got The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and I'm excited about this.
Yeah, we got the date.
We sure did.
Earlier than I thought.
Same.
I thought it would have been like either like late November, early December. Try to get like or even on the day that Pokemon comes out, because Nintendo doesn't care. But like,
I'm mad about it though.
Yeah, I'm down. That's dope. Freaking what?
Somebody, I can't remember who. I mean, because we got more Wall Street Journal reports on the like Switch Mini and stuff, and somebody was theorizing that maybe there's a lot of games coming out in September, which like I noticed that much, but somebody theorized maybe September is when they're planning on doing the Switch Mini launch, and then that would coincide with a bunch of games coming out all at once.
It gives them a buffer to also do a Pokemon themed Nintendo Switch Mini too.
Yep, it does, without it being the launch one. Like they can do a launch one that's regular, and then so. Yeah, in any case, I'm excited about Legend of Zelda. We talked about it in the video this week, or I talked about it in mine. But they also have the, I mean, it looks great. I watched all the footage in the treehouse and stuff, and it just looks like a good old time. And they have the, I can't remember what they called it.
They have the color dungeon in there.
Oh, the color dungeon, but then also the like dungeon creator thing.
I don't remember what that's called.
Yep.
It's Zelda Maker Light.
Some people were saying like maybe this is the next step towards doing a Zelda Maker. No, I think this is the replacement for them ever doing a Zelda Maker. I don't think it's hit my mic. All right, good times. I don't think they're ever going to make a Zelda Maker. I think this is just the way that they are going to do it instead. Which, granted, pretty good game, pretty good way. So
it's all right. I don't really care. I just want to play. I just like Zelda is a game that I feel more comfortable just playing what they're going to give me. Mario, I think has a good enough formula, and like gameplay is solid enough that like pretty much anything that you make is going to be decent.
Just doing the things in Mario. Yeah, just doing things in Mario is fun. Jumping around, like it's mechanically fun on its own.
Right.
Whereas in Zelda, there's a lot more thinking and like puzzle type stuff that goes into it, and to make a good puzzle requires more than to make a good jump over something that's already fun.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good way of doing it, where there's puzzles implemented already in each room, and so you just piece them all together that way. So that stuff. Yep. All right. Trials of Mana. It looks cool. Second Densetsu 3 is finally out here, but we don't have to talk about it very long. So
Weeb
there's
stuff.
that.
Some weeb stuff, Parker.
I'll probably maybe get. I think I'll probably get the Secret of Mana collection or the Second Densetsu collection at some point if it goes on sale, because I don't want to spend $40 for it.
I think it's one of the games that I asked for, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't know.
I
Is
just like
Nintendo
I don't know. I just
Oh.
after the direct, I was like, all right, even like significantly after the direct, I was like,
Yeah.
oh wait, I should probably ask for stuff. So then I like went through and was like, all right, what's stuff that I can see either one of us making a video about?
Yep.
And I just sent them a long list. And then I had to
Good
like
stuff.
cross-reference and see like, okay, what did I already ask them for? And what did I not? Like for whatever reason, Pokemon, I didn't ask them for that. That's
Oh
weird.
wow, yeah. Yep.
So I corrected that.
Good.
So
As well you should have.
there it is.
Yep. But next up, a big one for a lot of people, Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Weeb
They
stuff.
they
Moving
did
on.
exactly
No.
what I wanted them to do. I was watching, I don't know, some reaction videos or whatever, and of people that were like, "Why aren't you giving us gameplay? We need to see more gameplay."
Really?
And no, exactly. Like I was like, no, this is perfect. Like we need a cinematic. We need to understand why in the world we're doing like just the school stuff on its own is neat, but it's like, but why am I doing this? And then they
Yeah.
gave us an overall bigger story picture, which like a little bit ruins the story, but not really. Like
Yeah.
it tells us there's a war. And I think that's good. Like that's the kind of thing we need to be more invested. So yeah, I think we needed a cinematic trailer, and then in the treehouse we got gameplay out the wazoo. Well, when they showed it, which maybe was just once, but whatever. In any case, it's gonna be good.
I was one of the treehouse. This year I watched way less treehouse stuff than I usually do. And I feel like most of that was because of like making the videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so it was just like there was not enough for me to want to backtrack to where it was like, oh, this is a game that I'm interested in and I haven't seen enough of. I want to
Hmm.
watch this. That just didn't happen. Fire
Yep.
Emblem was one of those games that's like maybe I don't know, maybe I'll play it, but like
Yeah.
it's not going to be like a day one thing for me, and I'm not freaking taking that from Nintendo. That's all you. Because I know that they're going to be like, hey, so yeah, we'll send it to you. It'd be great if you can make a video within the first 2 weeks of it being out. Or I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing this enough to form an opinion on this game in the first 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, man, those things. It looks good in any case. They a lot of the mechanics. I mean, it looks super deep too, for whatever that's worth. We're like, I mean, maybe good, maybe bad, kind of overwhelming almost, but we'll see. Hopefully, it's one of those things that once you get into it, it'll turn out all right. Next up, Resident Evil 5 and 6. What a weird trailer. And
I didn't
a
know what was
kind of
going on.
useless announcement.
I was like, wait, is this the first Resident Evil game? Is that what they're doing? Is that what they're putting on here? I was like, no, okay, they're not doing that. Oh,
Yep.
5 and 5. Oh, okay, and 6. All right. Doesn't
It was
everybody
weird.
hate this game? And I tweeted that too. I was like,
Yeah, that's what I heard. I never played them, so like, but apparently, I think they were in the same engine as 4, so it was just like, I don't know, we'll just put out 5 and 6 too.
it's just
So there
funny
you go.
because like how mixed those games are was immediately demonstrated to me just in that tweet when I
Yep.
tweeted out, and then the first person that replied that was like, yeah, this game sucks, and the next person was like, this game's pretty good, yeah, I like it. I'm like, all right, fine.
I think I've heard 5 was okay, but just kind of lacked direction. Where it was like, it's kind of an action game, but kind of a horror game, but not really one or the other. And then 6 was just straight up bad. For whatever that's worth, if anybody's curious on hot takes from Parker, who's never played the game and only heard little bits from other people, that was that segment.
There it is. What you came here to
But
see.
the next one was, I mean, if it hadn't been so heavily leaked, it would have been a huge surprise. The Witcher 3 coming to Switch.
I don't know if it would have been that big of a surprise. I mean, I've been like beating this drum since before the Switch came out, where everybody's like, "Oh, it's not going to get next generation games. It can't run X, Y, and Z." Blah blah, blah all that crap. And it's like, it's not about that. Like,
Yeah.
it obviously is not as powerful as the other consoles. It's powerful enough to have the game run. Like that's
Mhm.
all that they need to do. It's not going to run it
Yep.
the best. It's not going to like appease the frame rate savants. You know, it's not going to appease the people that's like, this doesn't have enough dots on the screen. like the people that care about that, that's not who it's for. You already got the game.
Yeah.
The people that
it's got all the dots on the screen. They're all just colored in. They're filled in between the dots.
it's just like I posted in one of these like Facebook, like the IGN groups or whatever, and I was basically like they're posting all these memes and stuff, like, you know, like the pixelate, like how Witcher 3 is going to look on Switch. It's N64 looking graphics sort of situation. And it's like, and what I said was, I said, imagine making fun of McDonald's for not serving Wagyu beef. And it's like, yeah, like obviously you're not going to get the best looking version of this game on a tablet. The Switch is a tablet. The fact that this game could run, like it could run at all on this thing, is impressive. Like if this was a reveal last generation, you know, like before Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out and The Witcher 3 came out, everybody was like, oh, it looks so real, looks so great, blah blah. But since it's on a tablet, everybody, like after those consoles came out, everybody expects everything to be able to run that game. And it's like, nah, you're not being realistic here, you know? Like, it's not going to be able to run the games the same way. And it's just a lot of people being like, oh, this just shows that Switch is last gen tech. And it's like, no, it's not. Last gen tech for handhelds was the Vita. The Vita wouldn't run this game even looking like this. So it's like,
I mean, it would run it looking like even fewer dots.
It wouldn't run it. It wouldn't run on the Vita. That would not be able to run at 30 FPS at all on Vita. That's the thing. Like, just the fact that this can do that in your hand, I don't care what resolution it is dope. Yeah. Period.
I'm excited about it. I'm gonna play it.
I'm gonna attempt to play it. I tried to play it before. I have it on PlayStation 4. I did not finish it. I got to the tutorial and then I started playing something else.
I think this is one of those ones I'm probably gonna. Man, I just don't know. This year there was a lot of downtime at the beginning of the year to like catch up on stuff, and I don't know if that's going to happen again next year. I mean, it very well might, but I feel like I'm going to get really behind on a lot of these. So this might be one of those ones I just wait and see if somebody gets me for Christmas or something, so that I can play it when I've got more downtime later. But we'll just see how it goes. We will see how it goes. But the next one, No More Heroes 3. It was weird when it first when the trailer first came up. I was watching it with Mitch and he was like, is that No More Heroes? And like, which is funny because he didn't really know anything about No More Heroes. I was like, no, that doesn't look like Travis Touchdown. And then the trailer all happened. I was like, oh, that's Travis Touchdown. What? What is this? I was like, is this a Voltron game in the middle of it? Like, yeah. But whatever, No More Heroes 3. That's awesome.
This happened. I'm interested because like I really want to understand why people like those games so much. Never played them. I played Travis Strikes Again. Didn't like it very much, but then I found out that that's not a good representation of how other games play. So like, okay, cool. I'm still willing to try the third one, and I don't really care about the story, so it doesn't matter if I'll be lost or not. I just want to know if the game's fun to play.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The story, honestly, from the little bits and pieces that I've heard of the story, it actually sounds pretty fun, and it reminds me not of sort of like a John Wick kind of world where it's just like, you know, there's like assassins and things like that, or like it's just a completely different kind of world, but I don't know, something about it just reminds me of that, and it seems like a fun little world. So I'll be excited to play it when that comes out. But then after that, we saw Contra Rogue Core, which does not look like as good of a game. It does
not look like that game is done.
No.
How's that coming out in September?
Oh, I don't know. It looks rough. So, I mean, maybe it'll be fun for whatever. But like, as we were watching, so I was watching the direct with Ashley, my wife, and she was like, "Oh, this doesn't look good." And I was like, "No, it sure doesn't." So, I mean, that was, you know, a hot take right there. But
speaking of, I can't believe it's coming out in September. Demon X Machina. How?
Yeah, no kidding. I'm wondering what amount of the feedback that they put in there.
They did the trailer where they said all this stuff that's like, we fixed this and we fixed that and we fixed this, but I don't know if it's enough. Like, I didn't play it, so who knows? Maybe it is fixed. but
Yep.
that's
I
surprising.
I thought it was funny. There was a like short trailer thing where the director was like, 3 things you may not know about Damon Ex Machina.
Mhm.
And it was really like 3 things that you would definitely know if you played the demo for Damon Ex Machina. So, or if you watched any of the material. All those things were things we definitely knew. But I mean, yeah, whatever. It's coming out. I I'm not particularly excited about it personally, but I hope that other people are for
I'll
their
play it,
sake.
but like I'm scared
Yeah.
because I don't know how it's finished. Like,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Honestly, it might be one of those things where, I mean, we talked about this last week, but maybe it was in a good state before, but just like it wasn't good to demo it from the beginning, and like after enough upgrades, it feels great. So maybe
Yeah,
that's the case.
that's true.
Who's to say?
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, moving through Panzer Dragoon. There we go.
I know
Panzer
nothing
Dragoon.
about this game, but apparently people liking
No.
it. So sure, why not?
Yeah. It's been a while since I think we've seen Panzer Dragoon, like since the Sega Saturn or something. And so that's cool. It's coming. I think it's from what I heard. I think it's Switch limit or timed exclusive.
Mm.
So cool. It's just a remake
Mm.
of the first game. I don't know anything about this next game, but Pokemon Sword and
From
Shield.
from a small little indie dev
There you go.
called Game Maniacs.
Do we
Um,
want to wait to talk about some of the more detailed stuff about this when we go into your video later?
yeah,
Or
yeah, we can
okay,
wait about it.
cool. So Pokemon Sword and Shield, they showed a little bit new stuff. They showed you can use the Pokeball plus kind of in, I mean, just by putting a Pokemon in it and carrying it out.
Which is
Again, my wife
cool.
was like, "That's so cute and fun." I was like, "Yeah, that is cute and fun." You're right.
You're right.
So she was like, "We should get one of those." I was like, "It's $50. Probably not going to get one of those,
Ah,
but
you should have told me
whatever."
earlier. Should have told me earlier.
Oh, yep.
Had to.
Just assume that if there's anything that you think I could get for free, I would want it for free. But also zero pressure on any of those things.
Should have told me earlier because I surely had two of them.
Wah, 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 wah.
Rip.
Rip indeed. Astral Chain. This game looks better and better.
Yeah,
Did you watch any
I'm
of the?
so very down for this game. No, I did not see any Treehouse stuff, and I'm still down.
Okay, yeah, it's the Treehouse stuff. They showed it in the Treehouse twice. I got to watch one of them all the way through, and then the other one had a bunch of work stuff. So I
I'm
saw a
gonna
tiny
watch
bit of it.
them while this process is on YouTube for 5
Nice.
hours.
It looks, man, honestly, there's some elements. It reminds me of like just a whole bunch of stuff mixed together where, I mean, it's platinum, so like super fluid as far as the action
Yeah,
goes and all
I
that. But
watched
then also,
they did the same thing for this game that they did for Damon X Machina, where it's like 3 things that you might not know about this game, and
okay,
yeah, and they were like the pacing for it is like between Bayonetta and Near Automata, and I was like, I'm down for that, like that's cool. So
yeah.
yeah, them putting those 2 games in the description for that, where it's like these games had some type of like influence on this game. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm down.
That's cool. Yeah, and I feel like I mean, we didn't hear anything about Bayonetta 3 here, and I feel like this game is probably a large amount of why. Even if Bayonetta 3 isn't too far away, they probably just didn't want to say anything about it to like downplay this one because this is a
Yeah,
brand new IP and all that stuff. So like give it as big of a shot as you can.
right.
Um, but yeah, there's even like some platforming stuff, and like you can like some aspects that remind me almost a little bit of Pokemon meets Xenoblade or whatever, where like you get different legions that you like get on your team or can like capture them sort of like Pokemon or like the blades in Xenoblade.
Right.
Um, I don't know, just seems neat is all. So that was fun that they talked about that. Empire of Sin was next up.
I
Uh,
don't remember anything from this.
this one, it was sort of like a 20s or yeah, like 20s ish mafia style game, but
Oh,
it's
wait, never mind. Yeah, I remember this.
apparently like XCOM type combat or
Yeah,
whatever. I've
yeah.
Some other people seem really hyped about it. I don't really care.
It
That
happens.
era has very little interest to me, but again,
I think people are like hype about the pedigree of the dev or whatever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, John Romero or whatever that
I don't know who
happening.
that is.
So yeah,
Surely don't.
people like him. That's all
Yep.
I know.
All
So
right.
cool.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Cadence of Hyrule. What's
Whoa!
what? When will we be able to play this?
Done and done. And we already
Game
can. So
it's
good.
forever from now. When
Yep.
will that come out?
So yeah, that came out on Thursday. Everybody should go pick it up if it looks any good to you. I honestly, I was watching the treehouse for it. I was like, I mean, I knew I was probably going to get it anyway, and I was watching the treehouse. I was like, all right, I'm getting it now. So I got it now, and then I've been playing it since then.
I'm just waiting because
Yeah,
usually, like, if it's not that, except for like the pack situation, because again, that I understand when they're out at conventions or whatever. But usually,
yeah,
if I don't get it within like the first day or two, I just buy it.
yeah.
But the last time I did that, they sent me 2 games that I spent money on. So I was like, all right,
Yep.
well, I'll wait to make sure that I'm not
Nice.
throwing money away.
Yep. Good times.
So, yeah, I
But yeah,
want to play it. I'm down.
cool. You should do it and tell me what you think of it.
I
And
will
if you
on
start
this
out on
very
I'm
show.
curious if you start out on Death Mountain area too, because just wondering how random all that stuff is, or if somehow that's a little bit on purpose. I don't know, a thing.
I'm just gonna start out on the easiest area. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. This game is a piece of cake.
yeah. Next up, Sario and Monic. Man alive. Mario and Sonic in the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. We already knew about this game, but they showed a little bit more of it. And as they were showing it, again, my wife was like, ooh, that looks fun. We should play that. And I was like, yeah, it does look fun. So it looks, I mean, it's nice because it's like a Mario Party type situation,
Yeah,
but just with more active mini games that
right.
aren't like equivalent to Mario parties. Those are like micro games compared to what it seems like these are. Not in terms of like, not to speak of quality at all, but just as far as like a length of like, I'm going to skateboard for 3 minutes as
Yeah.
opposed to.
Also, they're like less obscure, like you don't
Yes.
have to look at a demo to be like, what are we doing? And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, it's hockey. We're playing hockey.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, it seems fun. And apparently, yeah, it seems like there's a toggle that you can make it look like the NES or whatever this article mentions. I noticed that for like a half second, it was like kind of 8-bit or 16-bit for a second. I don't know what's going on there, but
I
it
should
sure
have
is.
paid attention during this trailer.
Yeah, you should
I
have.
mean, for the most part, if it was a game that we already knew about and we like weren't waiting for any type of new information, I was like, okay, whatever, dude. I'm gonna like tweet something.
Yep.
So I missed a lot of this trailer. I saw Eggman / Robotnik swimming, and I
Yep.
saw Sonic, and he was wearing shoes when he was surfing. So,
He sure was.
That was a thing. And they were like, Sonic doesn't take off his shoes. It's like I've seen several times where Sonic took off his shoes, and it was terrifying. So I'm fine with them not doing it. But let's not sit here and lie to my face, Sega.
Anymore. He's got fears about it now. It happened the one time and he was like, oh my goodness,
It
I just
happened
can't.
so many times.
It happened so many times and he was just like, oh my goodness, I can't.
His feet are gross. So
So
I'm fine
gross.
with it. I'm
Yep.
fine with it.
And then next up, a big one, Animal Crossing New Horizons. You made a video on this.
I
and
did.
and save and talk about some of this stuff on there. But I guess the delay of the game is probably a thing that I don't know
I
if
didn't
came
really
up in
focus too much
comments.
on that.
Yeah.
In the
So
video.
thoughts on the delay or any of that?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I feel like everybody was like, "Oh man, I knew this was going to happen," because they weren't talking about it. And it's like, but you can go either way with Nintendo on that,
Absolutely.
Like Nintendo is consistently like, "Hey, you know that game that we announced 9 months ago and we haven't talked about since? It's coming out in 2 weeks." Like Nintendo does that so much, so it's like you can't really look at those signs and say like, "Oh well, it just." Adds up that they haven't talked about it, so that must mean they're not ready to talk about it, so that must mean it's getting delayed. And it's like, nah, if you're just throwing stuff at the wall. Oh snap.
AJ just threw stuff at a wall.
I just dropped my gamepad.
Oh no.
I use it as my TV remote. It was plugged in, which is stupid. The battery life on this thing is awful because I exclusively use it for a TV remote, and it dies like at least
Oh my
once
god.
per week. And I'm like,
So
that
why
doesn't
don't
even
you
make
get
any
a
sense
real TV remote is what I want to
because I
know.
always lose those. This is huge. How am I going to lose this? It's
That's a very good
impossible.
point. My
Um,
TV downstairs is a Roku TV, and I found out I can just download the Roku app and control the whole thing from my phone. So when I first found that out, my wife was like turning up the volume, and I was like turning down the volume at the same time. She was like, I'm not doing that. What's going on?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's so weird."
the TV just knows what's a reasonable amount of volume.
I never told her. No, just kidding. But yeah, March 2020. I put out a Twitter poll thing too, just to because I was curious.
Yeah.
71 people responded, which is a pretty good amount to be able to get a good gist. And most people seemed like they were in the disappointed but get it kind of camp, sort of like with Metroid Prime 4, where it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, and this one's a lot less dramatic of a delay, but like, that sucks, but like, yeah, whatever's best for the game, kind of a thing.
Also, like, since they didn't give I saw Cosmos, who's a competitive Smash Bros. Player. He was like, they delayed this game so long and blah blah. And it's like, realistically, they delayed it 3 months because all they said was 2019. So whatever,
Yeah, and it's still fiscal year 2019 anyway, so technically speaking, quote unquote, like it's kind of still 2019, just depending on how they count it. Yeah, man, that's funny. Because they didn't delay it that much because only if you were in your mind, if you're expecting it to come out in like March or April, like spring of 2019, then yeah, that's a long time for in your mind. But again, none of that was official in the first place. So, and it was good that
Do we even
they
know
said
about they announced it in February.
they announced that one. No, that was September of last year because they
Oh
announced.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I know. It was like when they announced Isabel.
Isabel, yeah, exactly. So,
Um,
yeah, man,
so
we'll talk about the details of it in your video. But as far as the delay goes, I think it'll be fine. That's a great time for it to release as far as like time of year and stuff.
yeah, and I almost feel like that's the bulk of it. Like I wasn't even thinking about that until Crunch Topher said in our Discord, he was like, "I don't want to play it like in the winter. I don't want it to launch during that." And I was like, maybe that's a part of why they did that.
Yeah.
That would make sense because I mean, I personally don't care. I play it in the winter when it launches. Because it's usually just a slow thing for me anyway. It's like I turn it on, I do a few things, and then I turn it off. I'm not like playing this, but I'm not going to sit down and play Animal Crossing for 9 hours at a time. So I'm fine with whatever month they decide to launch it in. But spring is a good time, so that's what they want to do, and maybe that's why they did it. Cool.
Yep.
But also they said something about crunch, and so maybe that's also a big part of it.
Yeah. That very well could be. And I mean, maybe it's possible they still have something else coming out this year too. I wouldn't bank on it, but like,
I mean, I bet they have something.
Even
Especially
if
if they
it's,
do like a September direct sort of situation.
Yeah,
they usually have a few more little things that are like.
I could see even like I mean, because again, Pikmin 3's been rumored for a while. Like they could be like, Pikmin 3 in December. Why not? Just here you go. Happy birthday.
I mean, my birthday is in December, so
hey, it's a birthday present to AJ.
Birthday present. See, the birthday present that they give me, and my headcanon is Pokemon. Now that they send me that, that's my birthday present from Nintendo.
Oh, that's so nice of them. Oh man. Before we get to the last one, which I mean we'll be talking about with the video stuff anyway. Just some quick headlines of other things that happened. Ultimate Alliance 3, this was just in the sizzle reel. Actually, I'm just going to mention the ones that are Spyro Reignited Trilogy. That's officially coming. That's awesome. September 3rd. I'm down with that. New Super Lucky's Tale, which again was an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, we didn't mention Just Dance 2020 coming to the Wii.
Yep. Man.
You know that Just Dance, it takes up 4 of the 5 best-selling games on the Wii in the last year.
4 of the 5? Oh, wow. Oh, I see.
Yes.
What's the other one? Oh, Mario Kart Wii, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that's so
crazy.
Funny.
I don't even like how many though? Like how many units? Like what's the figure that Ubisoft is like, yeah, that's worth still doing.
Yeah. I mean, if they've still got the engine and they just have to I mean, it might be
Yeah, but if
really
that's the
easy.
case, why aren't they putting it on Wii U?
Well, I
Like, it
guess
has to be some type of like
probably just
cost
because we use
thing.
backwards compatible, so like it's more cost effective to put it on the Wii and let
Yeah,
Wii U players just stick it in there anyway and
that's
play
true.
it. Um, so yeah, I mean, like I've got some friends. They just
Also, but
I
like they're not putting it on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
but I think because there's not a convenient way to like. I mean, you could have a Move
There's the same
controller.
way because you can use your phone. Because I was like, how did
Oh,
Stadia, like Stadia, I was about to tweet that. I was like, okay, people that play Just Dance, like, and that was going to be part of my like thing. Like, they're still putting Wii games out on this. That
yeah.
was going to be part of that tweet. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait, you can connect it to your phone, and that's how they do it. So I was
Okay.
like, I left
Interesting.
that
I
part
did
out.
not know that. I wonder, can you do it? Can you use it with your phone for PlayStation 3 as well?
Yes.
Oh, well then, I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure all of them work like that.
Okay.
Once they put it on more than just Wii, they're like, oh yeah, you connect to your phone and you do it like that.
Just use the gyro of your phone or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, like my friends that I introduced their son to Mario and like he was obsessed with it instantly. And I was like, guys, I am so sorry. I have like but it turned out good. Now they like play video games and stuff. He's like 5. Oh, he just turned 6. In any case, they
What a
have
terrible friend. Didn't
I
even
know.
know. Didn't even
No,
know.
I did. He just had a Mario birthday and he had lots of fun. But do. Yeah,
You
so
did that
they
to
played
them.
Just
You
Dance.
made them have to buy Mario
I
stuff
did
for
well,
his
so they
birthday.
already had like a Wii and an N64, but it was all like put away and like, he'd play games on his phone and stuff, but they were like, I don't know, like we kind of want to get out the, you know, grown-up games or whatever, like console games, but we just don't really know. And one day we were looking after him and his sister at our house and we were just like, at my wife was just like, Parker, do you want to like play Mario with him or something? I was like, sure. And we played Super Mario Bros. 3, and he was like, that's not Mario because it was just all pixelated because that's how it is. And then finally we played Mario Odyssey, and he was like enamored. So they just play
Yeah.
Wii
It's
games. But
wild, man. It's weird
yep.
though, because like obviously like this is stuff that's like targeted to kids as well.
Hmm.
Um, but it's still weird to me that like my niece like completely detached from me when she's I don't know, she was probably like 5. She's like
Yep.
8 now. And she like, that's Pikachu. I'm like, how do you know that?
That's my thing to know. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. My younger cousins, when they were playing like Diamond and Pearl and stuff, and I just remember one of them always talking about like, well, that's not as strong as Arceus about things that weren't even Pokemon. Like, I was like, you're not wrong. And it was funny because I was like, yeah, just the age gap. Like, I would assume that was my generation and like, get over with it. And
Yeah.
but
And for the most part, that's true, where it's like you do have to be like, oh, well, this is like this is DuckTales.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But Pokemon is just one of those things that like still,
Surpasses generations.
yeah.
Yep, it's great.
And that's why
Um,
Ash is still 10.
so Just Dance 20 coming to Wii. Minecraft Dungeons, that's a thing, kind of like Diablo-ish. I don't really care, but
Microsoft announced
whatever.
more PlayStation games than PlayStation did at E3. That's wild.
Ni no Kuni remake, Wrath of the White Witch. I'm pretty excited about that one. My wife is also excited about that one, just from she likes anime and was like, "It looks like anime." I was like, "All right, we'll play it." Some other ones,
That's another
Catan.
one
We already
I asked for that I'm not going to play. So there it
nice.
is.
Catan. Also, we knew about the Sinking City. I don't know barely anything about it other than it looks very Cthulhu-y and kind of cool and weird. So there's that.
There it
Um,
is.
Alien Isolation. That's coming over. Do you know
Which
anything
was
about
so
good
weird.
or not?
So weird, dude. Apparently it's really good, but
Okay.
IGN gave it like a low score and there was like a whole thing. But it's
Mm,
weird that they announced it in that way. I feel like they would
yeah,
have wanted to make a bigger deal of that,
I think so too.
but it was in the
What
sizzle reel.
studio? Okay, let me look up real quick. Alien Isolation. I just want to know what studio it is and if it could be that it's like a test game or like a I don't know. Like they're planning on doing the next one, so they're
Yeah,
doing
like
the
we want to support the Switch or whatever, but first we gotta port the game to see or port a game to see if it's gonna perform or whatever.
Yep. Looks like it's published by Sega. Okay,
Oh well,
so
I
that
don't know if
explains it.
it's that situation then,
Yeah,
because Sega
exactly.
already supports Switch.
It's probably just like, whatever. We'll just do it. There it is.
Yeah, like
So,
we have this game. It runs, sure.
yep. All right, thanks, Sega. Good job. Hollow Knight Silk Song, that was in the Treehouse too. I almost didn't want to watch the Treehouse for it because I didn't want any of it to be spoiled at all. But I was like, maybe it shadow drops, and I need to find out if it does. And it didn't shadow drop.
Does it have a date?
No, it doesn't. It just says soon. So like now works. I'm down with now, whatever that's worth. Yep, and then some other ones we pretty much already knew about. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Dauntless, I think we didn't know about, but now we do. Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal, Elder Scrolls Blades, which apparently we just now learned about, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned last year in E3 that it was coming to Switch too. Like, I really, if not, then I just like thought it was, and then whatever. So, in any case,
I don't even know.
and then oh yeah, and then two more things happened. Banjo and Kazooie coming to Smash.
Yeah, fam. That's when I was like, all right, turn it around. I was mad about the Smash Bros. DLC. I don't need more JRPG characters. I'm good. I'm fine.
Yep.
Especially this soon.
Yep.
But Banjo and Kazooie, I was like, yep, that's dope. And everybody was like, see, this is like another milestone for Smash Brothers where people can just a little bit less act like they're Sakurai's right-hand man, you know?
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
he just tells them all his plans. Because everybody just feels the obligation to be like, that character is not like the characters that we have now. So therefore,
Yep.
it's not going to come. And it's like,
Because we keep widening that sphere anyway, where it's like, okay, well, we just broke down another barrier and another one. So like,
exactly.
who's to say which is the next barrier that couldn't be broken down?
Sonic will
Like,
never
if it's like
come to Smash Brothers. He's not a Nintendo character. Sonic's in there. Freaking Snake will never come because he's not primarily Nintendo now.
Mhm.
He's in Smash Brothers. Cloud, that's impossible. He's a PlayStation character. He's in Smash Brothers. Now we got Banjo. So it's like, all right.
I watched I watched the Nintendo Life that went over the interview with Phil Spencer, where he talked about like how the process went or whatever, and pretty much he was like, no, I mean, it's just, it's just one of those things. Like, it's not really a big deal. We're one of the biggest third-party publishers on Nintendo, which, I mean, I guess probably Minecraft is what he meant in that regard, but there's also other ones on there too, obviously.
Also, he
like
could just mean in terms of size.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe not one of Nintendo's biggest third party, but one of a third party. Yeah, good point.
With the most resources and stuff. Yeah.
So like, but he was like, yeah, it's just one of those things where like it just made sense. It was time, they like somebody came to somebody and it was just like, yeah, no two questions about it. So there you go. That was it. I was like, yeah, sounds about right in that situation. But it's super exciting in any case that he's, and it's nice because I think if Master Chief had come, lots of people would have been very excited. It would have been more like
it would have been a Cloud moment where people were like, "Why this makes?"
I think at the same time, like nobody's arguing with Banjo and Kazooie being deserving. Like I feel like there's a lot of characters where people are like, "What? They came instead of this person?" Or whatever. Like,
which is always dumb. It's always stupid. That was another thing that I was talking. The Smash Brothers player, he was like mad that Banjo Kazooie was in the game. It's like, I don't want him because he's like a JRPG fan. He's like, I don't want him in the game. I want 2B from Nier Automata. I'm like, what? That makes even less sense if we're talking about like.
I mean, I understand personal preference. Like
that's the whole thing.
That totally, yeah. Like there's characters that I want in Smash more than Banjo and Kazooie on a personal level. But as far as like who's deserving, quote unquote, like there's no arguing that Banjo and Kazooie, like that's it's a classically it was a Nintendo franchise.
For me, the only thing I care about for Smash Brothers DLC is that it has variety. Like I don't care if they're characters that personally appeal to me. There's no DLC characters so far. Well, Banjo Kazooie, I like Banjo Kazooie. But there's not really any characters that I'm like, yo, I've been wanting this character for forever. That is in this game. But it's just there's a lot of options, and they are reaching a lot of different audiences with all these different franchises that are represented. And if we're just going to get all RPGs, then that's not interesting. So putting in Banjo Kazooie, I think, widens it a little bit more. in terms
Yep.
of representation.
I agree. It was very exciting and fun and fresh. So, yeah, I actually haven't gotten the character pass or whatever yet, just because I didn't really care about playing as Joker particularly. But I might at
How
this
dare
point,
you?
just
How dare
because
you?
seems to be playing
I
Banjo.
mean, you could get them a la carte if that's what you want to do.
That's actually, maybe I will do that, and I'll just get Banjo. We'll
That's
see.
what I was kind of forced into because I think Nintendo is like hedging their bets. They're like, I don't know if like you might mess up one day, so we don't want to just like give you
Interesting.
the keys to the castle if we can just send you stuff bit by bit. So
That's
like
really
they're
funny.
gonna send me like they sent me Joker, and they're gonna
Yep.
send me like freaking who's next Dragon Quest hero.
Yeah,
They're gonna
the
send
hero.
me him and like just that one specific thing. So that's the thing. Doesn't
There you
matter to
go.
me. I'm good. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
freaking turn into Bob tomorrow, so it's fine.
True. But then after that, that seemed like the end, and it would have been a good end, but like I feel like would have felt yeah. I mean, it was like, all right, cool. That was a great direct, really good. But then they had the Breath of the Wild sequel revealed,
Which was like
and
what?
they sure did it, and it was great, and I'm excited
And
about
it was great.
it.
Was it
So
great? No. If this game doesn't have co-op, I'm gonna be upset.
yeah, or at least if not co-op,
No,
which it should.
co-op. Period.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
No
In addition,
asterisk.
or rather, maybe in addition to co-op. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
I'm just
Also,
saying that they steered real hard into that skid of like, if it was just playable Zelda, like just show
yeah,
Zelda.
yeah.
But the fact that they specifically had that shot of Zelda and Link together exploring that cave or
Yep.
underground dungeon or whatever the situation is,
Mm-hmm.
says to me, it's like, all right, that confirms two things.
Yep.
Like
Okay,
Zelda,
so here's
very rare
what
play
I
as
want.
Zelda, and it
Uh-huh.
better be co-op in some way.
Yep. I agree. And what I really want to happen too. Actually, let's go ahead and just kind of go out of order. So go to my video comments now because they're mostly around this game, and then we'll hop back to yours. But what I'd like to see happen is beginning of the game, you go to under Hyrule or under Hyrule Castle. Go to this cutscene's like right towards the beginning. You're playing as Link. Zelda's coming with you. It's some cutscenes, but also a little bit playable. This stuff happens. Zelda falls down as she does in the trailer, and is like down in the bottom of the pits or whatever. And then you are Zelda and wake up as Zelda and have to make your way back to Link or whatever, who maybe is also making his way over to you or something like
The
that.
boy
Like,
Zelda.
hmm?
The boy Zelda.
The boy Zelda, yes. So that would be a great moment of or whatever. Like, I think you need to start as Link just
Boy
for at
Zelda.
least a little bit, boy Zelda, to like. For everybody to be like, okay, it's just a standard thing, blah 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 blah. I'm boy Zelda, and then at some point you just are Zelda, girl Zelda, and that just to me that feels like a perfect transition of instead of if you started out immediately as girl Zelda, I think a lot of people would be like, this ain't right, that's not the way it is. Which, like, come on, but it's worth subverting expectations in any case to do it the other way.
I want to start as girl Zelda. I want boy Zelda to knock on girl Zelda's door and be like, "Hey, wake up! It's time. You got wake up, boy Zelda. I mean, girl Zelda."
Granted,
and
Cadence of Hyrule.
Talk. He's going to talk. Boy Zelda's going to talk. He's going to say, "Wake up, girl Zelda." And I don't know why he has like a feminine voice, but
I mean, of course he does. Actually, that does beg the question. Zelda she talked a lot in Breath of the Wild.
Is she going to talk now?
Or does Link talk as well? Which is something that's interesting in Hollow Knight Silk Song. In Hollow Knight, the main guy doesn't talk at all, doesn't have any grunts or anything, like completely silent. Whereas other characters will have like a more eloquent Banjo and Kazooie, like what's up, or like okay, and then they say so. But when you meet Hornet, who's the playable character in Silk Song, she's like a full-on NPC that says things and blah blah blah. But that means that now in her own game, she also, like they've talked about, like, well, she's going to say things. She's opinionated, and she's still the same character. She's not suddenly a silent protagonist when she was so, communicative before. So
Yeah.
Zelda, similarly, like she talked a lot and had a lot of feelings and blah blah blah. So like, yeah, she definitely should talk. But does that mean boy Zelda also gets to? That would be interesting.
I don't think they can do it. I don't think
I
they'll
don't
allow
think so
it.
either. But
It'd
it
be
would be great.
great if they did that.
Yeah. But also in Cadence of Hyrule, you can pick whether you want to, like pretty early on, you can pick whether you want to play as boy Zelda or girl Zelda. And at some point you wake up the other one and that kind of thing. So like, but I just started, I was like, I'm playing as Zelda. Like, yeah, of course. So it's
Obs,
interesting.
as you
Obs.
should,
Yep.
as is the requirement, because the
As
game is
is.
called Zelda.
Indeed.
Well, this one's not, but most of them are.
True. But so some comments. Jordan the Best, great comment here. I hope the world. Okay, yes. I hope the world was influenced by Red Dead and, or I hope the world was influenced by Red Dead and not the gameplay. I
Yes,
honestly didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2 that much. It was
agreed.
pretty, but everything about the game felt superficial. No offense to anyone that likes that game, but compared to Breath of the Wild, that game was pretty boring in my opinion. Oh, and yes, a playable Zelda. That's what everyone wants. I agree. I think the problem, somebody might have actually commented this too, or I did, but maybe I'll say somebody else did. It sacrificed like gameplay for immersion or something like
Mhm.
that, where like, yeah, you're waiting around to do things like waiting around for your horse and stuff, which is like cool. That's the way it is in real world. But like, I've got a real world. I don't really care about that as much. Like
I
certain things are
I just
nice,
think
but
there's ways to make the real world fun, you
yeah,
know?
right.
Like the fact that Harvest Moon is fun and, Stardew Valley and stuff like that, that's not real life. It's not fun to farm.
Yeah,
So like I don't know. I think that they did a poor job at gamifying realism.
yeah.
And I just think that that is what the problem is. I think a lot of people are giving them a pass by saying like, "Yeah, well, it's going to be realistic," and I was like, "Nah, I think you can still make it fun." Um,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Rockstar is that good at that
Hmm.
side of things. I think they're in
Or
the Naughty Dog camp where they're really good at that whole like immersion situation, but they're
hmm
not great at making a video game.
yeah, it would be cool if this storytelling was also just a little bit more involved too. Like
Yeah,
that would be awesome. But yeah, I don't. For anybody, for the context, if anybody's listening to this but didn't watch the video, we were talking about in the video that apparently some of the younger devs playing or working on the game had been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 as they were working on it. So like in the same way that there was a lot of Witcher and Skyrim influence in the first game, maybe some of that would come across in here as well. So we will see. G Power says, I really hope we don't play as Zelda. Let her be a side character. Her oh so pretty short haircut doesn't mean she needs to be playable. I mean, so the
that
short
sounds
haircut,
like
that's
some
true. I
pent up
guess
resentment.
I agree. Um, I mean,
Somebody was hurt.
the fact that her haircut is short, like, is cool, but it doesn't have anything to do with her being playable. But as far as
I
like
think it
whether or not
might,
she should be
but
playable, oh yeah, right. As far as like, I think was it Stealth that mentioned that on Twitter? I was like, that was a good. It was somebody
I don't know.
mentioned
I
like,
just think it's logical that,
yeah,
like, in terms of like animations and rigging and stuff like
yep,
that, like making their
and it
models
not
as
clipping or whatever.
close, yeah,
Yep.
as possible just makes a lot of sense. Also,
So
like if she's playable on a story side of things, makes some sense to not have her hair all over the place. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
true. And also the fact that when they were making Breath of the Wild, they said that they thought about making Zelda playable,
Mhm.
which I think they'd said before. Maybe we saw the first trailer, and that's why people thought Link was Zelda because he had long hair or whatever, something
Yeah,
like that. But in any case, they definitely have
or
said before
just
they wanted to
wrinkle.
make. Yeah, right, exactly. Um, so all that said, I maybe she won't be playable, but I happen to disagree with you, G Power. It would be great if she is, or Jai Power, maybe I don't know, JII.
Eye
Uh,
power? That would
yeah,
make
maybe.
sense.
I'm curious. I
A
would be
Kendrick
curious.
Lamar thing.
What?
That's a Kendrick Lamar thing. Eye power.
Oh, nice.
But it's H. So I don't know. Who
Uh,
knows? You know what I
who
mean?
knows? Justin
Yeah.
knows. The title of the video, for context, was Zelda: The Legend of Zelda 1 E3 2019.
Yeah.
Title thanks to not mine truly,
Me.
or AJ. He was like, "That should be your video," and I was like, "I cool. I like talking about Zelda, so here we go." So Justin says, I don't know about one. It definitely showed up, partially due to my kind of meh feeling about the franchise in general. Also, that a coming whenever trailer and a remake of a re-release isn't that big of a deal to me. The Breath of the Wild 2 trailer seemed
Wait,
like
wait, 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 wait.
yeah.
What?
I think he
What?
I think he was saying there that the if we're talking about Zelda in general, that one
Yeah,
was towards Link's
he's talking about
Awakening.
Link's Awakening. But
Yeah.
my point is, this is the same man that is most hyped for Square Enix partially because they're doing Final Fantasy VII remake, which is actually that.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Justin. All right, continue.
Nice. The Breath of the Wild 2 trailer seemed like Nintendo's way of trying to not get people's attention off of Animal Crossing being pushed back, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I feel like it was a good shock and awe moment, but I'm not really sure how much of this really affects the year for them.
Hard
I mean,
disagree on all of that. I don't think Animal Crossing being delayed again 3 months realistically
yeah.
is a big enough deal for them to have to damage control after the fact. They had a lot of stuff that people are excited for beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that Breath of the Wild quickly became a lot of people's favorite games, and critically, it's one of the best games ever. It
Yeah.
just automatically put them above a lot of the other stuff that was shown. In the same way that Square Enix showing a remake of 20-year-old acclaimed Final Fantasy VII put
Yeah.
them a notch above a lot of other people in a lot of people's minds.
I'm
So I don't know about that.
yeah.
I think this is a take that is heavily influenced by his aversion to games that don't let you just pick your option to play on the screen and through menus, like you don't play Breath of the Wild through menus, so it's not a Justin game.
I mean, it does beg the question too of when do you think, is this a 2020 game or is this a 2021 game in your opinion?
I think it could be either. I don't think it's going to be any later than 2021.
Yeah, I definitely
I
don't
think
think
a
it's gonna
lot
be.
of people look at it as like they're saying like, oh, it's a Zelda game, so that means it's going to be 4 years out because
Yeah.
that's how long Zelda games take. But this is
Mhm.
definitely like a Majora's Mask scenario where the game is like already mostly done in comparison to where most Zelda games are when they announce them.
Yep.
They don't really have to put as much work into it. I'm sure that the bulk of the technical work is just them like getting more out of the game by virtue of the fact that they don't have to adapt it for Wii U anymore. So they can
Yep.
use whatever additional horsepower they have to make the game run better and also add more things to it. Like I was watching Game Explain's new show, or relatively new show, where they're like look at
Hmm.
it like, how is this on a technical level? Like what's
Right.
going on with does this have ambient occlusion? And there's a lot of like stuff that they did on the technical side that is better than what they did last time around. But side
Hmm.
note, I feel like they could do that show better because like
Mm.
that's like one of those things where it's not good to watch if you don't already know that stuff. Like they're not
Mm.
really good
Yeah.
at the lowest common denominator side of things.
Yeah.
Like he's like specular occlusion and all that. It's like, dude, talk to me like I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Uh-huh.
because I know what he's saying, but
Hmm.
most people will not. And most
Yeah.
people are not going to go into that and say, oh, what is that? Like,
Hmm.
what does this mean?
Yeah. Is
What
that
does
still
bit mapping mean? Like,
is it still Brainchild doing? Because I haven't
yeah.
watched this one. Okay, I didn't have a chance. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit maybe of like feeling like maybe when
It
he's
feels
making a video,
extremely pretentious. It
a
just
little bit,
like,
yeah, where he's like, I know what I'm talking about. So like, it's actually more fun maybe for him. I don't know. This is completely speculative, but maybe it feels more fun to know that people don't know the words you're saying. Like there's sometimes when I worked in support where like I talked to somebody on the phone and they were just getting on my nerves and they obviously like were being like thought that I didn't know anything or something. So I would specifically use a sentence with like 13 technical terms in it just
Yeah.
so that they knew, like, oh,
It's like, oh,
okay.
he
Okay.
knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
And I would use it specifically as a defense mechanism of like, shut up. I got this under
I
control,
just
yo.
feel like in this world, like on the internet, and when anybody can watch your video, and that's the point of it, you gotta at least like explain. Like, even if he wants to be super technical about it, using it as a way to then teach people what that means, I feel like would be a lot better way to do that show.
That's true.
But it's a good idea for a show.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, and it's very beneficial to get to watch it and stuff because I mean, like Digital Foundry does some, I mean, that kind of stuff too, but theirs is more like the technical. I mean, it's pretty much.
I feel
the
like
same,
they do
but
a good. I feel like they do a better job at explaining stuff.
yes,
though.
they do.
I mean,
do
they don't
better.
explain it as well as they could, but I think
Right.
they do it better. Than,
I think, but probably, I guess the difference being that the games that they do it for aren't always the same games that Game Explain might do it for. Like Pokemon, Digital Foundry,
which I feel like is even more the reason why they should be talking in layman's terms,
right,
for a Pokemon video.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's about it for Zelda. I think there's a chance it could come out next year, even just considering all that stuff. Like, depending on how just knowing how they've announced stuff more recently, there's a chance it could. So I'm yeah, I think the coming whenever aspect of it, like, yeah, sure, that's not that exciting as far as like being excited to play it soon, but just being excited about a game. That's the thing. Like, people are still excited about Metroid Prime 4, even though we don't know when it's coming. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Because it's confirmation that it's sooner than you thought it was. Like, we knew it was going to happen eventually, but them acknowledging that it's going to happen is saying,
and them showing or teasing what it is, kind of too. Where like they've said it's a darker game and like a weirder game. Like, I'm just excited that it's not the exact same Zelda story again. Theoretically, I mean, it could be, and this teaser was just throwing us off quite a bit, but the fact that Zelda is with us during this seems to show that it's different in any case. So that stuff, I'm excited. But that's it from that game. Let's move on to some of yours.
Yep, because I did too.
Animal Crossing or Pokemon first?
I don't know. Animal Crossing, I guess.
Cool. Animal Crossing. Marissa Miller says, I don't really mind games being delayed. I would much rather have a game I have to wait for that is quality rather than a game that would come out in a couple of months that is garbage. Considering Animal Crossing is so close to the hearts of many, including myself, taking more time to ensure a high caliber game is for the best. However, there is one thing that I think Animal Crossing needs to bring back. Actual cranky villagers. I love the OG Pee-wee and his bad attitude.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's something that they could use, like, like the just additional space on the cart, just that alone, to add more personality to the villagers and just make them different, more different from one another than they already were.
And you know what? I feel like that's one of those things where, like, creating a lot of different characters, that could be a fairly easy thing to delegate out to just a lot of different people. Like, hey, we've got 40 different writers that, or like we've got maybe like 4 writers that do the main stuff, but then there's like some other people that are like side people, and like each of you guys just come up with like 2 characters each, and like just come up with little things that they can do, and then everybody, they'll get QA'd. But that would be an easy thing to just, I don't know, be able to delegate out in some regard.
It's like relatively little effort for like a major change.
Yeah, exactly. Because just it changes the feeling of so much stuff to do that, to just have more diversity going on there instead of everybody being happy-go-lucky and whatever. So, Sonic Guyver says, I'm pretty stoked for this game. Been playing since the GameCube days and played most iterations. Couldn't play City Folk and refused to play Pocket Camp. But this game looks amazing with crafting your tools and even that vaulting to get across rivers. Figures since you were the first resident to the island, so no one has built any bridges yet. I'm guessing that'll happen once more people start showing up. I'm thinking you'll be given projects to undertake in order to make this island more appealing and draw in other residents, but I have no problem waiting for the final product. I'd rather wait a bit longer and get something with polish we expect from Nintendo rather than get something sooner that isn't up to scratch. Plus, I now have more time to rebuild my finances once I get back from Galaxy's Edge before it comes out.
Oh, are you getting one? Let me know if you're listening to this podcast. Let me know if you're getting a lightsaber. Because, like, why else would you go there? You know, did you see that stuff?
I did not.
The lightsaber, like you build your own lightsaber, it's like $200.
Oof, goodness.
I was like, all right,
When
that's
are we
it.
going to come out with real lightsabers? Real
Uh,
lightsabers, AJ.
2116.
Nice.
Heard it here
Or a long, long
first.
time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Either way,
That's true.
it's already happened. We just didn't know about it.
You never know, man. Time is a flat circle. This is a long, long time ago for someone far, far
Hey,
away.
you're not wrong. But yeah, all that stuff. I'm not surprised you didn't play Pocket Camp. That's for sure. It wasn't that great.
I mean, I have it, right?
Yeah.
And I've turned it on once or twice, mostly for videos. But like, I don't know, like,
I
don't
kind of feel like
know.
it did them a disservice, if I'm being honest, because there's a lot, especially the fact that this theming is similar. I think a lot of people can see, like, oh, this is going to be a good game. Like, just immediately looking at it, when Ashley saw it, she was like, I'm going to play that. That looks cute and fun. But
Mhm.
all she'd played before was, I told her when Pocket Camp came out, I was like, you should try Pocket Camp because I think you'd like it because Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
And she tried it and she was like, yeah, I don't like Animal Crossing. It's just not good. And I was like, man, like, that's not even
It's
apparent.
because
Like,
they had to monetize it, and
yeah,
the way to monetize Animal Crossing kind of takes the core out of it, you know, because
yep,
you got to pay for literally everything that
yep.
it's the reason why you play it. So, but I don't know. I just like, for whatever reason, I always get these notifications where it's like, we changed this thing. It's like, I will literally never open this, but I still don't delete it. And I don't know why.
You're pretty silly.
Okay.
Yeah, but being the first person in the village, that seems fun. I overall like it just seems like a good time. Also, graphically, it looks beautiful.
Yes.
Um, very stylized in the perfect way, and it's good. Crafting also fun. I can't remember if you mentioned that in here, but
Of
there's a lot
course
of cool
I
things.
did. You
Not you,
freaking.
crazy. I'm talking
Of
about.
course he did.
Yep. Tyler Nelson said a while ago, my cousin had a copy of Animal Crossing on either DS or the 3DS. I'm not sure. She played it like it was the most interesting deep game to ever exist, but I was confused. The game looked so boring from what I'd seen on the internet, and I decided I'd never really care about the series after that. Fast forward, it's September of last year, and Animal Crossing Switch gets announced. The internet, especially Animal Crossing fans, went bonkers with excitement. I was confused. From what I could recall, the game looked not very fun. After watching some videos of people expressing excitement, I decided I'd give it a chance and be a little hyped for when Nintendo would talk about it next. And boy, let me tell you, that game looks so good it hurts. When I saw it in the treehouse, it was so appealing. I had to stop halfway through to take a break, lest my mind explode. I know a lot of stuff in New Horizons is generally new for the series, but it looks so fun. I think I'm beginning to understand why such a seemingly mundane gameplay loop can be so relaxing and fun. This is definitely a day one purchase next March for me. It being my first Animal Crossing game, I feel like I don't have too much room to talk about how good the game looks. But from a new fan that's bandwagoning on the old Animal Crossing train, I'm excited for this game a lot. Nice video, BTW.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I like that comment because like it was a story, you know, like it had
Yeah.
a whole arc to it where he's like, I saw Animal Crossing and I thought it was dumb. And then I eventually got to this point where I'm like, maybe I'll try it. And then there's a game that gets announced and everybody's excited for it. It's like, yeah, I'll definitely try it. And now I want to try it a lot.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I don't think that not playing the previous games invalidates your opinion on how good it looks,
Mhm.
especially for a game like Animal Crossing, because it's not really that type of series that a lot of people want to be reinvented yet. It's not that old, you know?
Mm.
Like it's not a Pokemon situation where we've been playing the exact same game for the past 2.5 decades, you know? That can you tell that I have Pokemon baggage? So yeah, it's like
Like
I
a
don't
suitcase?
yeah. I probably have that too. But Animal Crossing is like in the like it's still just in that phase where people just wanted to like add to what already is there little by little. And then eventually we get to the point where it's like, all right, we've been doing the same thing all over again for forever. It's time to reinvent it and freaking nuke everything and start from
Yep.
scratch. Which in a way they're kind of doing that even with this game, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
where
they're adding a lot of
it's more of a
substantial things. It seems like.
Sims sort of situation
Mm.
almost, where Animal Crossing is generally about you being dropped into this world that's established and people have their
Mhm.
lives going on and stuff like that. But now you're like a key part in establishing that,
Yeah.
where
I
you're
mean,
not,
kind of like a Stardew Valley kind of situation too,
yeah,
where like you're even though there is a town in Stardew Valley that's already going on, like it's integral to you to being a part of that town, like doing a thing that's helping build it into what it is, like building the community center and stuff like that. That's yeah, I don't know. It's neat.
yeah, yeah,
Building your farm and whatnot.
true.
Good stuff. Pokemon video. Jonathan F says, I think a better comparison for the wild area would be Hyrule Plains and Ocarina of Time, which is also a large area that connects various areas and similar in structure. Either way, I don't think the compromise is too big of a deal. As far as the Pokedex thing, I don't think it's going to be a big deal anyway. But the first thing that came to mind is that Sword and Shield won't have all the Pokemon ever, and when Sword and Shield 2 comes out, that game will support a national Pokedex. Honestly, though, I hope this isn't the case. I probably won't, and I'm just being pessimistic about the whole situation. But, oh, it probably won't, and I'm being
Yeah.
pessimistic about the situation. I also hope they do away with the old format of a third version / 2 new sequels and just support the game with like a new wild area to explore and new challenges. I would pay like $20 for a new area that is Battle Frontier or an arena like the Sevi Islands, but bigger and more fleshed out.
Okay, so breaking it down, I like had a conversation with this guy in the comments.
Nice.
So it's more so to like get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But like the Hyrule Plains thing, in my video
Mhm.
specifically, I was like comparing it to like Super Mario World to Super Mario 64, and it was less about how Mario approaches the hub world compared to how Pokemon Sword and Shield does, and
Mhm.
more about the transition. So like to say that Super Mario World is linear. It's super linear.
Mhm.
Pokemon prior to Sword and
Mhm.
Shield is super linear.
Mhm.
The wild area adds openness to it. It's not fully open. It's just
Right.
open in one specific area. In the same way
Mhm.
that the hub world makes Mario more
Mhm.
open. It's not fully open. You can't literally do whatever you want, but it
Mhm.
adds more choice in what you do when you do it.
Yeah.
Um, it was
It's a
yeah,
centralized area, I think is a good you like because yeah, you're coming back to it fairly often and stuff. Whereas you don't go back to World 1 in Mario World at all. Like,
right,
once you've beaten it, unless you want to come back for fun, like you don't
right.
go back
You
through
don't
that
have
area.
to go back to
Right.
it.
Which I mean, I think in that case, Hyrule Plains also is an equally good
I mean,
example.
I think it's a better example,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in isolation. If I was just comparing like
Hmm.
area to area, but the point of that comparison was to
Right.
compare the transition,
Yeah.
less about comparing
Uh-huh.
the actual area
Yeah.
to another area.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I agree. It was just
Hmm.
it didn't fit. Like I considered saying that, and I was like, nah, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because
But no,
again,
yeah,
it
I
just
think that's
doesn't
a good
fit.
way of putting it in isolation for sure.
Mhm.
As far as the other things, so the national decks, all that stuff,
Yeah. So,
I
what are your
feel like,
thoughts on this?
yeah, I think it makes sense that if they couldn't, it's a question of whether they decided to not put all of them in because of limitations like dev stuff and timing, or if it was also that like you know what, because they also did mention in some other interviews, Masuda was like at some point we knew we weren't going to be able to do all of them, so we just wanted to kind of think what are the ones that are going to be good for this because we can't just always have it expand 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 kind of a thing.
Mhm.
So like which of those is more accurate, I guess, is part of the question. Like if they had unlimited dev time, would they want to just do it anyway? Maybe yes, maybe no. So I don't. I would assume yes, and if so, I think they're just gonna come in patches in a similar way to Pokemon Go, where like they have, except for in Pokemon Go, it's by generation. But I think it'll just be like, all right, and now there's some event in the wild area, and now suddenly
It could
these
I think
said
it
Pokemon come in.
could still be by generation, honestly.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Just depending on like if there's like a proportionate amount of missing Pokemon from
Or
specific generations. Like if
it's by
there's 40
yeah.
missing from Gen 1 and 40 missing
Mhm.
from Gen 2, like that sort of situation.
Another thought is maybe they do it by weather type instead. So like a
Yeah.
blizzard is coming through, and so now we're just getting a bunch of new ice Pokemon or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
That would
they
be
could definitely eventize it in that way. Like the wild area makes that a easy possibility where they
Yep.
can like dole them out like that. And then if you
Yeah.
can catch them there, then they're just enter the decks or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then you can transfer them from your old games.
Yep. But it makes
Um,
sense that, I mean, they can't delay it like Animal Crossing because, I mean, people have said this online a bunch of places, but they've also got other pieces of media that are relying on this game,
yeah.
like the show and the
Mhm.
manga and stuff like that. So like they just can't. They got to do it. There's probably a movie coming out, like all this stuff where um, delaying it's just not an option. So I think it's totally fine. But then again, I don't even have Pokemon Home or anything, so it doesn't directly affect me too much.
So there was this article, or not article, but I mean, it's essentially an article, a Reddit
Mm,
post
nice.
about Game Freak and Nintendo's relationship, and they were saying that like Game Freak is kind of like held hostage in a way by Nintendo,
Hmm.
but they kind of hold each other hostage, whereas like Game Freak isn't equipped to like make bigger and better Pokemon games every year, but
Hmm.
Nintendo kind of expects them to. And Game
Yeah.
Freak doesn't want to expand, but
Hmm.
they would have to be able to fully meet the expectations. And like all of this to me is like hearsay. I don't know like how in the know this dude actually is. He
Yeah.
said
Right.
he used to work at Pokemon Company International, or he had a friend that did, or whatever. And like I don't know. Take all of that with a grain of salt in terms of like how much he knows and what he does and doesn't know in that regard. But that is a lot of like what he was saying, where he's like
Hmm.
they're not super equipped, and I don't know if they want to be, you know,
Yeah. Right.
which I think is weird. I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
I
I
agree.
I think that like I don't know. At the end of the day, if Nintendo really did was like
I
this
mean, even if it's
tyrannical,
accurate, it's still weird. Like,
yeah,
even, like if the Pokemon Company really is like, no, we just don't want to grow much more. Like, we
yeah,
like the size we're at. That's still kind of weird because, like, but maybe you have to. Like,
yeah,
that's just something that happens. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Um, Not to say it's inaccurate or not, but it's weird regardless. So
yeah. Because
yeah,
like at this point, it really is just a matter of throwing bodies at it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
that problem specifically can be fixed by throwing bodies at it. It's
Mhm.
not. It doesn't take a whole lot of like experience to port over Pokemon that already exist.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe you just need to staff up.
Yep. Um, But yeah, good comments, Jonathan F. Dreamer Tim says, personally, I'm not happy at all about the Galar
Galar,
Pokedex
yeah.
thing, but I think people make it a bigger deal than it has to be. Sure, I might not be able to bring my perfect IV level 100 Scizor into the game, but isn't a new generation Pokemon game. Um, a great chance. Oh, there was a random comment there. But isn't the new generation Pokemon game a great chance to catch some new, not seen Pokemon in battle with them? I'm sure we'll be able to transfer our loved Pokemon from previous games at some point, maybe in Pokemon Gun or the next Pokemon game. Until then, you can trade and keep them in Pokemon Home, and that's good enough for me. Great vid, AJ. Please keep being awesome.
Thanks. I'll try. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm not. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not furious,
Hmm.
but I'm not like yes. They're limiting the amount of Pokemon. Finally, like I'm not happy
Uh-huh.
about it, but I'm not like up in arms about it either.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that we will eventually see because again, I mean I said in the video, Pokemon Home exists. It exists for a reason,
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna like never support these Pokemon. And I
Yeah.
honestly do not think that it's gonna take them releasing a whole new game to
Yeah.
support it. I
And I
think
think
it
it's like yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. You
I was
go
just gonna
off.
say it's probably like a Mario Maker 2 situation again, where like they're planning on doing them in patches, but it's gonna be better marketing down the road to be like, we're gonna patch in new Pokemon and like, oh no way. Like
Yeah.
rather than tell them now and then people be like, well, why aren't you doing it now? Like,
Yeah, like it's a lot better to not say
yeah,
that you're going to do it because
and then
then
do it.
people
Yeah,
aren't asking you when you're going to do it. Like they're
exactly.
not going to keep like you said you're doing this. When's it going to
Yep.
happen? Like what they did with Pokemon Bank, where it
Yep.
was supposed to come out on my birthday that year when it happened, December 27th,
Yep.
and it didn't. And then they're like, it's
Hmm.
not ready yet. And then it came out like the month after or something like that, which is a couple of days later. And people
Yeah.
were like furious. So
Man.
I feel like it's a lot better to like rip the band-aid off now, make no promises, and then come back and say, hey, We got those
Yep.
Pokemon that we said we weren't going to have.
Yep, exactly. I agree. And then the last comment for this, and then unfortunately, I actually may not be able to stay through the Q&A, so we might have to
Ooh.
port those over to next week. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, guys. I filling in facts. I have not had a floor in my house for about 3 weeks now, and it's been the worst. But finally, people are coming tomorrow to do it, and I have to like get my house ready for that stuff. And I've got
Yeah.
people coming over to help, which is great. So, um, so thank you everybody for being patient. But the last comment, I'm gonna butcher this name. Here it goes. Oh, maybe it's just Christoph, but spelled different.
Yeah.
We're gonna say Christoph. Christoph Skalski. Sure.
Let us know
I've
if it's right.
I've never transferred my Pokemon between games, mostly because I've had a break with the franchise in Gens 4 and 5. I wanted to bring some Pokemon from Sun and Moon this time, but if I can't, I can't. I still will have tons of fun with the game. I also believe they'll introduce more Pokemon in later patches, just like they did with some Megas that weren't available at first in Sun and Moon.
Yep.
Good point.
Truth.
Truth,
I
indeed.
agree. So that's that.
Pokemon Friendship looks great. All things considered, I'm excited about it. Watching, there were so many things in the Treehouse demo that I was like, please do this thing. Go talk to that NPC. No, okay, never mind. Like, there's so much stuff they haven't shown us. I mean, even honestly, besides the first area, we haven't even seen walking around in the towns. Besides in the like,
like we haven't seen like a town proper yet. Like we've seen more of the wild area. We know what more wild areas are called than we do towns.
Yeah, so yeah, that's exciting to me. There's still so much stuff we don't know about it. But the stuff we do know.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Mr. Rossetti losing his job.
Poor Mr. Rossetti. He'll find something new to do.
I think he's going to yell at us if we don't update the game. I think he's going to be like, "There's a new software update. You need to update, stupid idiot."
Yep. And there we go. That's the stuff.
There it is.
All righty, y'all. Well, I think that is it for today. We will save these comments and talk about them next week. Y'all have some very good ones. So all that said, thank you so much for tuning in to Directly to You. We are a podcast every single weekend on Saturdays where we talk about Nintendo things. If you're not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? You should go do that. And also leave reviews on the podcast app and Spotify and wherever you do that kind of stuff, because it's nice and fun and friendly. And then also go subscribe to Fanatics 4, which is our regular channel where we do videos. And you sometimes see our faces. Not last week.
Nope.
You sure don't last week. But you can see our faces on
that.
Yeah, it actually turned out. I was like, man, sometimes not doing camera stuff takes way more time to edit for me. And it didn't this time. I was like, that's good, because this week's been crazy.
I felt like that. Like, that's why I initially started doing it, because I was like, well, also because a lot of people are like, do camera.
Yeah.
I want to see a face. So I'm like, all right, cool. But initially I was like, that's going to help me save time. I don't got to edit and stuff like that. But then I got to actually film it. It's a lot harder to film when I'm not able to read it the whole time. And also I got to set up lights, and I got to you got to do so much. So it takes so much longer than just recording the thing, cutting it up, and then editing it together. So that made more than one video this week possible for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we could, we'll just see how that goes in the future, and we'll maybe flip-flop between both. I mean, we'll probably stay in camera. I don't know. Who cares? Whatever.
I'm just going to do on camera. If we do extra videos, maybe if we start like every week doing at least 3, we can have one that's off camera. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else from you, AJ?
No. Can't wait for E3 2020.
Yeah.
So we can complain about that for one reason or another.
Lizardine did ask, on a scale from 1 to 3, how E3 was E3?
I give it a 4. Wasn't a whole lot of E3s. I didn't see the E3 logo very much.
No, what a mistake.
E3. Yeah.
There you go. That's a good one to close it out on. All righty.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.